Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our regular scheduled board meeting. The time is now 6:02 p.m. We are calling this meeting to order. Madam Secretary, roll call, please. Present. Present. Thank you. If we can all stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Before we approve the agenda, it has come to the attention of the board that the June 8th, 2026 motion regarding the appointment of Dr. Sarita Stevens as Executive Director of Human Resources did not receive the number of affirmative votes required for approval. 4 votes are needed. Accordingly, the motion failed. If the board wishes to consider the appointment, the agenda must be amended to add the matter to the board action. Trustees, let me know your pleasure. Can I get a motion?
Move.
Thank you. It's been moved by trustee Gross, supported by trustee Bowman, to amend the agenda to add for discussion and action the vote for executive director of HR resources for Dr. Sarita Stevens. Any questions?
Comment.
Yes.
Comment.
Yes.
According to MASB and Robert Rules of Order, majority vote is needed for minimum of 4. I did a minimum of 4. At the time of the votes, they allocated only 5 board members who voted. So that vote was considered null and void at the time. So I would ask that on the agenda, possible for another vote to determine whether or not this process.
Correct. That's correct.
Thank you.
Correct. Councilman Miller, did you have a comment? Okay, this item will be added under general counsel human resource item. Yes, under general counsel. Item D for action. Also, I would like to amend the agenda to table under awards and recognition, the 2025-2026 retirees recognition. This will be tabled until the first meeting in August. But we will, adding to this, under this item, is our recognition of our 8th grade students that went on the Washington, D.C. trip. Any, yes, the first meeting in August. Okay, you okay? You're welcome. Can I get a motion to amend the agenda with those changes as stated?
So move.
Thank you. It's been moved by trustee Gross, supported by trustee Bowman, to amend the agenda with the changes as stated for one, tabling the 2025-2026 retiree recognition until the August meeting and adding the recognition of 8th grade students for their Washington, D.C. trip, and also adding under general counsel human resource item for discussion and action, the approval of executive director of HR for Dr. Sarita Stevens. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hammond.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. That passes.
Thank you. If I now can get get a motion to accept the amended agenda.
So move. I mean, second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Trustee Bowman and supported by Trustee Gross to approve the amended agenda with the changes as stated. Any questions? Roll call.
Trustee Gross,
Yes.
President Hannah,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
and Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right, continuing down the agenda, I have recognition of elected officials. Good evening, trustees. Can I get awards and recognition, Dr. Leverett?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Hannah. Mrs. Rush is en route, and we are very excited to hear the updates that she has in regards to the very successful experience that our students had in Washington, D.C. So if you wouldn't mind, if we could, I don't want to have us wait, but we could circle back around and move forward with the finance, but she is on her way.
All right, thank you. I'll continue down the agenda at least. Can I get a motion for approval of the consent agenda items?
So move.
Support. This has been moved by Trustee Gross and supported by President Hannah for the consent agenda items. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
On the first page of the personnel action items, being that the vote was technically invalid, do we need to modify the consent agenda? Because that position is on here as a new hire until the board votes again.
The HR.
Yep.
We needed to adjust.
From my,
Hmm.
well, from my understanding, we have to leave it as is because we're doing that at this meeting. At this meeting, we're now, even though that's how it passed. It passed with the
Oh,
assumption of.
In
So we have to
actuality,
leave it as is, but this is why we're having this meeting and we're adding it to the agenda because we received clarification.
Right, but the notes indicate it was a 3-2 vote, but in actuality, it still was not approved. The position was not approved within the consent notes, was it?
I guess my concern is that if we approve this consent agenda as is, it shows the approval of the new hire, to my understanding. And until we have solidified that and have clarity, I don't feel comfortable with this line item. I don't know, y'all.
Yeah.
That's just my concern. That is my concern.
No, I agree with you, but I'm thinking the consent agenda notes only stated that a 3-2 vote was given. Does it actually say that the position was accepted?
It says right here on the first page.
July
Yeah,
1st?
and that was the
Yeah.
that was the assumption. We all thought it did pass until we were informed that you had to have a four. It had to be a four vote. So at this meeting, which is why we did the amendment of the agenda to clarify what was last month, and this time we're clarifying as to what it should be. So we can't go back and change what we already did, is what I'm saying. If that's what it was at that time, that's what we understood. And now at this meeting, we've received clarification that that was not accurate.
I understand what you're saying.
So now let the record show that we're saying that action was not accurate, and this is how we're moving forward.
I understand what you're saying.
And I understand that. Well, I guess it's just, for me, accepting the consent agenda is accepting it as written. So that would be the new hires and the retirees, the resignations, eliminations, things of that sort.
But I got it written that we're amending, and that's what we're amending. So on our next meeting.
Mhm.
The
The
record will
notes
show.
reflect,
it will
right,
reflect.
that it would reflect that matter was amended.
Okay.
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Okay. Any other questions or
That
comments?
makes sense. I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Right.
Roll call, please.
Right.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
No.
Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. That passes 4-1.
All right. Thank you. And now we do have Ms. Rush here. So thank you. That was good timing.
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Leverett.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As I said previously, Mrs. Rush is here, and I am very excited to hear. I saw all the great pictures and the stories that she has been sharing with me, and we wanted the opportunity for her to come before to provide an update to the board. And I believe she had some students that were able to participate in this learning experience. Mrs. Rush, how are you?
I am blessed and well. Thank you for asking. And I just want to say good evening, everyone. I am so happy to report that we had an amazing time at our eighth grade Washington, D.C. 250th celebration this year. I was able to bring some of our students that were able to participate. Come on over, you guys. Don't be shy. And so, with that being said, I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Isabella.
My name's Gage.
And so these two students had an amazing time, as I said earlier. We actually, with the slideshow, our first stop was at the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, where we took our first picture, and everyone just had, again, an awesome time being able to see the statue there. We also had a lot of we have quite a few pictures on there. Oh, there we go. So we also went to Howard University, the HBCU tour. We were able to have one of the couple of our Omega brothers give us a tour of Howard University. The students had, again, an awesome time. We toured some of the dorms. We were able to see, meet with one of the faculty members there. They also, as you can see, got a chance to see the Chadwick Boseman Center, where it was named after the young man from, thank you, Black Panther. And then again, there are some other pictures there, us taking the tour, the Washington Monument. We all, again, just had an amazing time there. We also went to the Ford Theater. The kids actually did a skit of the president where President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. And so again, we made this a learning opportunity for those students, not just, we went around, walked around, but they were engaged in learning as well. The other one here, this is where we did our actual video, which you all will be seeing us on Good Morning Detroit. So be looking out for us because we did the good morning to everybody. Also, we want to say thank you to Senator Peters, who got us invited into the inside of the state capitol building, which even when I went, I didn't have the opportunity to go inside to the state capitol. We had some awesome chaperones that were there with us. Mr. Davis, who's a former student, Ms. Johnson, who's a former student. And then we also had a mother-son was able to attend, and we also had a grandmother and granddaughter that was able to attend. So we made memories on this trip. We didn't just, again, have a tour of Washington, D.C. The young man behind me here, he also was able to meet up with one of his family members who lives in Virginia that he hadn't seen in over 5 years. So I tell you, every year we always have a memory that the students will hold on to forever. Gage here was able to meet his family at one of the restaurants and be able to see them. These are our other families that came. Miss Debbie and her son, Alejandro, had memories that are going to last a lifetime. And also Miss Smith in the other picture there, and her daughter, Tanaya. She's not in that picture, but they were also part of the being able to go out and have a great time. What else did we have here? So after a long walk, we had a cooling down period where the kids were able just to go out, play in the water. We didn't swim, y'all, but they did get a chance to play in the water for a minute. And I'm telling you, again, it was just so amazing watching them. I just thank God for this trip because, again, without you all, the village helping us to be able to do this, we would not be able to make this happen for them. And then here, another picture, they were at the Einstein statue. And they tell the kids, well, if you rub his nose, it'll make you smarter. So that's why his nose, I'm just telling you what they told me. It's all the kids are up there rubbing his nose. And of course, it's not true, but they believe it. So we're going to keep letting them believe it. Then we had, this is the picture I love the most. So these young ladies, we were at the National Museum of African American History, and they were actually emulating the protest that the track stars did in protest of the Olympics that year. And we did the Botanic Gardens. Oh, this is the 9/11 Pentagon Memorial. The boys were able to go find a bench. They were given a activity where they were to look for a certain name and be able to locate people that did perish during that time, that unfortunate time. Again, oh, there we go, the Botanic Gardens. This one really just warmed my heart because the students literally were starting to seek out flowers and things that they learned about in the 8th and 7th grade. So it was just amazing to watch them be able to say, wow, we read about this, Miss Rush. Look at this flower. This is the, and I'm like, okay. So yes, again, they made real world connections, and that was the most beautiful part. And we also, this is just another fun time that they had, riding the bus down. And there's Isabella. That's why she's smiling. So yes, and then don't believe what you all hear about Pontiac Middle School and ITA don't get along. These were the two schools that were together during this trip. They had an amazing time building and making new friendships. So yes, we do. It is not true. We are going to make this happen because we are a village once again. And then just a couple other activities that we took some pictures at. And so that last one is the one I like the most. Oh, we went to the Washington, D.C. Smithsonian National Zoo, and they actually had a chance to see the baby elephant, the new baby elephant. So this just one young lady, she had never seen a cow before. She's 14 years old. When I tell you she was taking pictures of this cow like it was the next top model, it was just too cute. She's like, Miss Rush, we can't go yet. I got to get another picture. I said, it's okay. We got to leave now. And it's just little things like that that we take for granted that our students, 14 years old, never seen a cow in real life before. And so these are some other pictures at the zoo that we took and just having a good time. And so this is our limousine tour, or this is our course leader, Miss Jody. We've had her 2 years now, and she is amazing. She makes sure, again, that our kids are engaged in learning and being able to recall some of the things that they actually learned from all the way back from elementary up to middle school. And then we use the Golden Limousine Transportation Company. Awesome service. 2 years in a row, got us there safe, brought us back safe, and we're thankful to God for that. And so that was the before picture. They came down, they were all excited. And then when we came home, they were asleep, they were knocked out. So we do a lot of walking, we do a lot of traveling. And so I just want to say thank you again to the village, to all of you that made donations, that helped make this happen. And trust me, I told everybody, and I said again, I will do this trip until they roll me in a wheelchair. And they're going to still have to get me on that bus some sort of way because I'm going. So I know, Gage, did you want to share? Oh, he's nervous. He was nervous. He wanted to talk about meeting his family and not seeing them for 5 years. Did you want to share, Isabella? Okay. And so again, they're saying, come on up. Tell your story. Come on.
All right. So my aunt, my uncle, not Virginia, but they're Maryland. They're still close to it, so I was still able to go over there, see them. Yeah, it was. Gosh, I don't even know what to say. It was good, you know. Yeah, it brought me back a lot of memories, hanging out together. It's just they live so far away from Michigan to the point where I don't even know if we're gonna go there to see them or if they're gonna come here to see us. So yeah, but still, it was an amazing time, and I'm happy that I was on here, be able to go here to see them. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
All right. Thank you again, everyone. We just want to say, please continue. We're getting ready to start our next kickoff for 2027, I'm sorry. And please, the donations, keep them coming because we need them. All right. Thank you all and have a great night.
Don't leave.
Oh,
Yeah, trustees, you got comments?
I do.
Okay.
That was one of my questions. You answered that. We start now,
oh, yes.
and that's great. And do you guys still take the elongated pictures that the kids are able to keep for years? Because I went way back in the day and still have my picture with all of us at a monument together, the whole class.
No, unfortunately, I have not found that person. So I'm still 2 years in. We will locate them. So we do take pictures though. So I will make the smaller version, and eventually we'll get that bigger version, that
Okay.
longer picture that you're making
That's something
reference
you
to.
put in a frame so you can see your 8th grade class.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. You're welcome.
Proud of you. Good job.
Thank you.
Trust Secretary Davis Smith.
I just want to say thank you so much, Ms. Rush, for continuing to fight for them to go each year. I really appreciate that because, like Trustee Gross said, that's something that we remember um, when we were in the 8th grade, being able to go on that trip with our friends.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Trustee Miller.
Again, Ms. Rush, thank you for everything that you do. And young man, tell me your name again.
Gage.
Gage, thank you for, I wasn't trying to be pushy, but thank you for reconsidering speaking to this audience, the board, and everyone in attendance. You know why? Because it's one thing when we hear from Ms. Rush, but it's something completely different when we hear your experience as a student participant. So thank you very much for sharing your experience. You spoke very well. You should speak more often. Don't be nervous. And I appreciate you hearing how monumental that was for you to be able to see your family and your experience. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Trustee Dooley.
Good job, Ms. Rush. You know I support you. But my question is, did you ever receive the donation or a payment from this board to help support your trip?
No, I did not.
Thank you.
Trustee Bowman.
I just want to say thank you so much. I saw you when you first started this mission, and it's been a long journey, but to see you actually stay locked in and consistent with it, I think this is a beautiful thing. It gives our children exposure of what they need from different vantage points. I love the aspect that they go to Washington, D.C. They get to see the Capitol, and hopefully we can expand and get them more involved with how policies and things work within our government so they can understand that they're getting exposed to that as well too in Washington. So thank you so much and keep up the great work.
Thank you. And you were in my first ventures of getting this started. And I want to say thank you for all your support as well.
All right, Ms. Rush, everything that they just said, but I really do appreciate, ditto. I remember the first year that you were trying to do this and your dedication and your enthusiasm and commitment. No, our babies are going to this trip. And I must say that there was times when we were like, I don't know, Miss Rush, if this can happen, but it happened. So that goes to you for pushing and making sure this happens. So thank you. And I'm happy to hear that we're already starting now. So our
Yes.
7th graders, their parents already know what to expect.
Yes.
So when their kid in the fall, 8th grade. So, and I think that will be helpful too. If we
Absolutely.
start ahead of time and organizations understanding that this is a annual event that we're doing for our students. And then hopefully we can get some more partners that come on board and would like to support and help the initiative. But thank you for your commitment.
Thank you. I appreciate you all.
Yes, you're welcome.
For the record, to this board, I want us to review our budget to ensure that we give them support of no less than $5,000 for next year's trip.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, moving down the agenda, we are going to information from the superintendent and administration, Dr. Leverett.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah. Good evening, trustees. At this time, we will turn it over to Catherine, who will present our 2026-27 proposed budget presentation for public comment and any board comments at this time. Catherine.
Good evening. So I just wanted to indicate that we presented the budget at the last meeting at the open public meeting, and then at the board retreat as well. And then the board had 2 open meetings to the public on June 11th and June 18th to review the budget in detail. So through all of that vigorous work of everyone and fiduciary responsibility, they at the time they had no changes requested at this point. So I was not going to go back through the entire budget unless you'd want to. But if there's additional questions.
Point of clarity or information, we did not have a board discussion on the budget on the 18th of June. So for the record, let that reflect. That's not what you said we did, but we did not.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure if you, okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So you did have it on June 11th, and then we'll postpone the June 18th, which is really just kind of a learning in depth of everything but I think you had the time on June 11th to go through the detail and questions asked.
So,
Yeah.
so Catherine, do you want to give us a summary or update or anything, and then we will open it up for board comments and public comments. Public comments first, and then board comments.
All right, let me do that really quick. So in summary, basically the general fund, which is our operational fund, we basically at the current moment for the 26-27 fiscal year have a net surplus of $672,000, which means our revenues exceed our expenditures. That allows us to add to our fund balance, which puts us at about $16.5 million of fund balance, which is about 16% of annual expenditures, which the state of Michigan indicates that you need to be between 15 to 20%, and we're more at 16.9. So we have a very healthy fund balance in this position. So that's that past budget right now. Not passed yet, but that's the proposed budget. And then we have our special revenue funds that we have a surplus budgeted as well of $60,173. And we have our bond debt service fund, which is a surplus of $384,000. And basically that bond debt service fund is, previously funded by the debt millages. So that's not in the general operation funds every day. That's been funded through the taxes. And then capital projects funds as well. We have our capital projects, which include our bond fund as well as our sinking fund. And so where we're at there is we will have a projected fund balance at the end of 26-27 of $5.6 million. We had received about $18 million in the previous year, 25-26, to fund those costs that we had going on with the high school, the middle school, and now our largest project right now that is undertaken is Rogers reconstruction. And then we also have some costs for the EV bus hub that will be in the sinking fund versus funded by the grant, but a very small portion of that. And then we have our risk-related fund, which really pays for our insurance, our general liability, our workers' comp insurance, those type of items, and that's funded by the general fund. But right now we're in a good position there as well. We're at a net surplus of $117,300. And then that leaves us with a fund balance of $358,000. So overall, when you combine all of our funds, the Pontiac School District would have a beginning fund balance of $35 million and an ending fund balance of $23 million. And that achieves all the things that were on the table for voters to approve to be done in the next year. I can go into further detail if you'd like.
We have a question for you, Catherine.
Yes.
Trustee Dooley.
Catherine, certainly thank you for what you do. But how much of that 16% is actual or anticipated? Can you separate that? Because to my understanding, what little I do know, some monies are expected as a payout coming from the government or whatever. So I'm just curious. When you state we're in a good place, good position with 16%, but I would like to know what's actual and what's anticipated as it relates to ending that 23 million.
So based on what's currently in place, we've anticipated that the local revenue, which we know is our property taxes, so local is going to come to fruition. So that would be actual, and then state is expected at the level of funding that was in this prior year, 26-27, and federal is based on what the Title 1, 2, 3, 4 dollars that we receive for special ed, and much of the state grant funding that we receive is for at-risk students, special ed students, and the various pieces that we receive. So right now we're expected, based on the calculation, to receive the same as, the same as this fiscal year, with keeping an eye on the developments that are occurring, but knowing that the budget hasn't been passed yet.
If I said I was confused, that would be minimal. My
Okay.
question was, how much of, and I honestly don't expect you to have exact anything right off the top of your head. That's unreasonable. But I just wanted a ballpark figure. You talk about, we already know cuts are coming down from the government. That's being sent out daily, communicated. They don't know, the budget hasn't been passed from the state, yada, yada, yada. So as it relates to just Pontiac, I'm talking about our budget because we haven't had an audit in the sense of forensic, for me, a forensic audit. How much of that do we actually have, should I just put it like this, cash on hand, opposed to, or what's in our actual accounts, opposed to what we want or hope is going to come in like last year? Just a ballpark.
Well, I think what you have to consider
Hmm.
is with the state funding that we receive, though there may, the property taxes are 18 mills. So we are out of formula, not in formula. And we know with what was passed in the property tax level, what exactly we're expected to receive. And then with the state funding, that is the majority of those at risk funding, special needs, also, other things that pertain to our community to help us grow forward. And those dollars are guaranteed based on what the state had passed on that type of funding to ensure our students, achieve reading and math scores at a certain age in 3rd grade and 8th grade so that they're prepared to go on. So right now, how it looks is what's in this budget is expected to come in for state.
I don't think you understand what she's saying.
I don't think so.
I don't-
Let me answer this. With what you're carrying over in the general fund balance is 16 point what million.
Oh, is that what you're asking?
She's asking,
Oh
you're
my
carrying
gosh, I thought she was
over.
asking what.
That
okay.
is where the percentage comes in, what the state has expected us to have within our budget. 16 point something million is what we're carrying over to years 26, 27 is what you're asking.
Okay.
How much of that is actual monies in our possession?
It's all in our possession, but it's all based on, it's all in our possession, but it's also based on expenditures as well. The revenue we have, that money's there, as along with the other financial entities that pay into us. Then it goes toward the various expenditures that we have. But right now in the general fund balance is what, 16?
Yep, 16.6.
16.6 million that we carry over for the next school year. But still, that's not free money we can just spend willy-nilly. It's still based on the expenditures that we have for the year 26, 27.
Yes.
You came in with a balanced budget, which you're carrying over through all the expenditures based on the revenues. You're bringing $600,000 over from this school year into the general fund that will go into effect for the next school year. But in actual, no,
So I guess what I'm asking would be a hypothetical number
no.
of what we, so what, I guess what I'm saying, what I've learned from MASB in some of the little classes I've taken for finance, that some of this money is anticipated. It's supposed to be delivered, but will we get it?
Oh, it's based on the tax when we.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking. How much money do we actually have?
And that should be
That's two different things.
Yep.
That's because if it wasn't, we wouldn't say anticipated dollars.
right.
And those dollars that we actually have.
And you're anticipating.
So maybe
dollars.
I'm asking the question wrong. Perhaps someone can rephrase it for me. Okay.
So to put it to that point with fund balance, right now, to the best of our knowledge, we would have that cash in order to move forward to the next fiscal year. And when we look at budget to actual monthly, if something changes, different, then we look at that for the changes. Right now, to the best of our knowledge, that is where we will end up.
Trustee Gross, I want to correct one thing just in error. You misspoke. We don't have 16.5 million in our general fund. The surplus is 672,000 and the 16.5 million is in our fund balance.
That's what I said. General fund. Yeah.
No, you said general fund. That's not, no, fund balance is
this?
It's two different. I'm just, for the public, I know the difference. I'm just
Right.
saying for the public,
Right.
we
I
do
know-
not
I-
have $16 million in our general fund.
And that's not, yeah.
And
Okay.
the question that I have here is on page 55. It says, second paragraph, it said there are items like COVID dollars, district fund debt, and restricted versus unrestricted revenues, etc.
Correct.
To my understanding, COVID dollars were spent and should have been gone a long time ago. So why is it included in our 26-27 budget that we still have COVID dollars?
We don't, which is ESSER, that's not included in the budget for this year, for 26-27. That's been depleted. It might have been a comparison to what we did receive in the prior year.
Okay. I do want to add another comment too, Catherine. I do see on our agenda that you will give a financial report. So maybe when you give the monthly financial report, it can help with trustees duly question as to where we are, as to what we have on hand.
Yes, and actually the dollars that we do have on hand in May are much higher. They're in the general funds combined. They're 32 million. But what happens is there's certain things that are restricted for the special ed needs and those type of things. So when I present the May financial, you'll see to date we actually have $36 million in there with some restricted dollars that cannot be spent on everyday operations. So maybe that'll clear it up a little more.
Okay. Any other questions, trustees?
Please talk about the TAN. Are we eliminated TAN?
Yes. Sure. So we have tax anticipation notes, and what Pontiac School District had to do in the past is issue tax anticipation notes, which basically is kind of a forefronting of the property tax money. So the property tax money doesn't really come in till September, October because of the fact that that's on your summer tax bill. So those lean months where we still have everyday operations of still paying teachers, still having supply costs, still having maintenance, security, those last few months of the year were tight for the Pontiac School District. So over the years, we have had to issue, prior to fiscal year end, $15 million in tax anticipation notes. We have steadily reduced that to $4.5 million in this last fiscal year. And with that, of course, comes issue cost and interest costs on that as well. This year, with this healthy fund balance that we were able to achieve and work towards, we will not have to issue tax anticipation notes. So that interest, those issuance costs, those will all go back to the students. So that is something to be proud of. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Did you have anything else you wanted to share, Catherine?
I was going to just share a couple items that we did discuss at the June 11th meeting that there were public questions about, and I just wanted to answer that to everyone that was here and asked those questions. So the question was being out of formula versus in formula and our current student count, and how, and what does that mean when we had indicated that we would potentially lose money with more students. So I wanted to clarify that with the fact that 18 mills, we bring in about $49 million in property taxes. So we end up with the approximate 3,700 student base receiving about $13,068 per student for a mainstream student. If you were in formula, you would receive $10,000 $10,000 per student right now where it's at. So with our student count at 3,700, if we were to add 1,000 students and come to 4,600, we would get to that point. We would end up in formula because we'd be closer to that level than our 18 mills. So it's not as though we cannot add students, we can, but we also have to keep in mind as we add those students, you'll have additional teacher costs and those type of items as well. But I wanted to answer that because I know that was a question that was asked on that part. And also, there was another question which I had talked about at the June 11th meeting to the board on, you can get on a watch list with Michigan Department of Education if your fund balance dips below a certain level, and then you're on the watch list to see if you may need, some help from them. But there was a question of if our population of students drops within a certain level, would that trigger something for our school district to be concerned about? And no, that is not something that we'd be concerned about. That's not on their watch list. And when you look at it, actually, Pontiac School District, even at its size right now, of all the school districts in Michigan, with 3,700 students, we're in the top quartile of population in our district. So we're actually in a healthy place with that comparison to other districts, though we were much larger before. And then I think that really, the last one was with the Rogers renovations. Those are only coming out of the bond series fund. And I do have that detail, you did request that. And then also with the EV hub that's being paid for the majority from a grant that we received of $3.6 million. And we'll have a little bit extra that will be in the sinking fund, but very minimal. I think that covers the majority of the questions that we had at the public hearing.
Okay. Trustee Dooley, did you have a question?
And this is for the citizenry. We know there's a direct correlation with the taxes and school district.
Mm-hmm.
If we're about improving the lives of Pontiac citizens and its students, would it not behoove us as a community to increase? Because if you have a better school district and the larger the school district becomes, possibly we could get a new high school or a new junior high built, or as it relates to someone that is a property owner, I want to have a viable school district. So it even though we're out of formula, it appears that we're out of formula.
Yeah.
It appears that we would want to increase our school enrollment population. So I guess I'm missing. I hear what you say for the dollars where you get 13 per student if we're out and 10 if we're in, but the long-term effect, would it not behoove us to increase population in our student enrollment?
Yes, so right now, because we are out of formula, adding a student decreases that 13,068 per student that's allocated. And this does not include the Michigan, the state of Michigan special funding that we received as well for at-risk and special needs. But so basically, as you increase right now, you lose a little bit of those dollars that can be allocated per student. And so if you were to bring on 1,000 students, you'd be in that area that per student, you'd be at 10,050. But you still would bring in about that same amount of dollars, because when they compare if you should be in or out of formula, they're looking at the fact is, does this millage that you're collecting exceed what we're giving you? But per student, then even if you are on that level, and then if you do have that many students, you would come equivalent to kind of where you're at right now. Yes.
And Catherine, I just want to clarify this because I think we did talk about this too during that maybe June 11th meeting. For financial purposes or accounting purposes, this is the benefit of being out of formula
Mhm.
just for financial purposes. However, as Trustee Dooley said, it would behoove this community and for us to have a stellar school district as we once had, because we do want to be able to educate our own students. We don't want our students within our community to have to choose school of choice or schools outside of the Pontiac School District. So we do want to be able to bring and have all of our students that are living in our community to attend our school district. So when we say this, I don't want it to be taken as, no, we good. We don't want our students here, because this explanation you just provided was strictly, as it has been before, for financial purposes, the benefit of how this benefits the district. However, on a moral basis, on a social basis, the Pontiac School District would love to have all of our students that reside in the city of Pontiac attend school in the Pontiac School District. But we know for various reasons why they don't. But I just don't want it to be taken as, because of the district being out of formula, that we don't ever want kids to come back. And based off of for the years that I've been here, students come and students leave. So it's been a revolving door. So whereas we start off the school year with an increase of students, and we know because of whatever reason, changes, logistic reasons, students end up leaving the district. So to get to that 1,000, it would take some time and a whole lot of consistency and changes and improvements on our part for students to stay. But I don't want it to be mistaken that the Pontiac School District don't want to educate the students in this community. We do. You just provided us information, as the previous Jim Graham explained, financially. This is the benefit to the district because we're not. But we do not want it to be mistaken that we do want kids here in our school district.
Right. And you have the capacity, like in what I was trying to indicate exactly. But you have the capacity to still be funded at the same level. It'll just be allocated differently. But because of the fact that we are fortunate in our district to receive a lot of state funding and the various grants that we have that will continue, yes, as we grow, that will also come into play. Yes.
Trustee Dooley.
Hey, Catherine, with the closing of schools and the moving around of staff, did we save money there?
Yes. Yes.
How can you just a ballpark figure?
I have to go to that page. But so when we look at it, when we look at the comparison, hold on, let me grab that. Because we're saving on the maintenance, the operations there. We're retaining all of the teaching personnel. So let me see. Let me get to the general fund real quick. Sorry. From the top of my head, it's about, hold on, here we go. It's about at least $3.6 million. Anticipated savings. Right.
Anticipated was 3.6 on the chart.
Yes.
The expectation is at least a minimum of 2 million.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you. Yes,
Yep.
that's what was on the chart.
Yeah,
that was
that's
given
it.
to
It
us.
was
Yes.
3.6 million and a
Right.
minimum of
The
2.
anticipated number was 3.6, but the
Yes.
hope and expectation was 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else, Trustee Dooley? All
And
right.
again, those dollars then go to our students then as well versus maintenance and upkeep of the buildings.
I would like to open it up to public comments at this time regarding the proposed budget for 2026-2027. If there are any here that have a comment, yes.
I just want to say that I'm saddened to hear, disappointed to hear that there's no proposes to the budget. When I was looking at it as a parent, line by line, there were things that I found problematic that were proposed. As I watched the meeting on the 11th, it was hard to figure out like everything that was being said because the audio wasn't that great. I appreciate you answering the question. I could extrapolate the concept behind if we got about 1,000 more students that we would be back in formula and then the funding would be different. My concern is that there's been multiple meetings that have happened around the budget and that at this point we're here today on the 22nd of June and there's been no proposals to change any portion of that budget. We've had questions, but where has the work been done? We had a town hall hosted by the community last week on the 18th, and you guys had a meeting, a special meeting, and on that it said we were going to be addressing the budget. Or you guys would be working through some sort of the budget, so you guys couldn't be there. But now here we are again, and we're asking questions, and we're unsure about what's happening. That's problematic to me, understanding that every meeting that you guys have, there's a fee that the community is already concerned about. What work are we doing and how are we moving the bar forward so that we can actually have budgets that the community can get behind? I find that concerning. Yeah, and I'll save the rest for my other comment.
Okay. Again, public comments is open to any other community members that have comments.
I just wanted clarification. How much is it per pupil? Is it $13,000, $18,000, or $32,000?
Good evening, Superintendent, President Hannah, School Board Trustees. My question is, well, first, we did a lot of work with the Michigan Education Justice Coalition to get rid of some of that legacy debt, and so I'm glad that you guys are getting rid of the anticipation notes. I want to know how much dollars are actually going toward academics in this budget.
Good afternoon, evening. I guess my question is on the second page of the agenda. I'm trying not to laugh because this is not appropriate. There's an action item on the approval. So are we having the town hall and approving the budget at the same meeting? Because that signals to me that y'all really not looking for our feedback for real. Y'all just doing this, performative.
Yes. Is there any more comment? Yes. Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I had an opportunity to be involved in the reading program at Harrington in March. And I find it curious that there were 33 kindergartners in a kindergarten class. So that is really concerning to me. If we have all of this money, why are our class sizes so large?
Okay. Round two again for public comments. Are there any other public comments as it relates to the proposed budget?
So I can answer some of the questions. The first question on the board not doing a deep dive in the budget, they really did. They went through line item by line item. There were questions that they asked, and we went through that. And so they were satisfied and in line with how it was laid out, but they did go through it. And at the June 11th meeting had a lot of questions, and we went through it, and they had time to study it and make sure they were okay. And obviously their concern is the school district. So I did want to comment on that.
Catherine, 1 second. I'm sorry. Trustee
Yes.
Dooley.
Catherine, I was at that meeting. When did we do that? When did we go line by line? Because I missed it. When did we go line by line? That's all I'm going to ask you. When did we go line by
I
line?
thought everyone did, and that's when we went to the June 11th meeting for questions. Okay, so that's fine. But when we looked at it overall, I thought when I left the June 11th meeting, everyone was in agreement with the proposed budget.
Trustee Miller.
I'm sorry for the confusion, but I thought I made it very clear that I was not satisfied with the proposed budget for several reasons. One, the budget was done backwards. I made it very, very clear that why are we being presented a budget after it's already done, and there was nothing that was presented to the board for discussion. It was just already done, presented to us, read for a first reading as directed by law. And I made myself very vocal that I was very displeased with how we continue to do our budgets backwards. We get told what is going on in our budget with no discussion. The administration has not presented us anything prior to us retrieving this budget. And factually, we did not go line by line on the 11th. We did not. And so the assumption of that we were all pleased, that would be inaccurate, because I made sure I was very, very vocal of my displeasure of the way this board was presented, this budget was presented, and I wasn't satisfied with it.
Any other comments? And Catherine, to your point, we did go over the budget. We did. That wasn't maybe a line by line, but you did go over it. There were some questions that the board members had and discussed possibly adjusting, but we agreed that those items could be done during the first amendment. So there was the feedback given that we would do that for a couple of the line items, particularly as it related to the board's portion, the board's budget, a portion of that.
And yes, and that's true, because the items that were questioned and we talked about, and this isn't going to say, but some of them on the budget size that we have in the general fund, which is $100 million a year in expenditures, the questions were, as a percentage of that, small. And so then we made the note, and we would look at that for the first budget amendment to adjust it if necessary as we move forward.
So point order. So based on the tone that I'm hearing, is there some, and I'm just concerned because I'm well aware of Trustee Bowman just coming aboard and not having the information or knowledge, understanding to even make the appropriate vote. Is there some unreadiness?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking the board.
Well, I will respond. I have been very vocal about my displeasure with how this budget has been presented. I even addressed and gave the timeline and what was given to me from the class I took at MASB on how much the board should be involved. So if you're saying, is there some, what was the question, hesitancy?
My question is, over the last several meetings, especially on the June 11th meeting, we made it clear that by law, a budget has to be approved before July 1st. We made that very clear. And the questions were asked within those meetings, and it was also asked on the 18th when Catherine could not show due to personal reasons. We talked about whether or not we were prepared to vote on this budget, but tonight I am hearing a different tone or message that there's still some unreadiness for us to consider to vote on this budget this evening.
Point of clarity.
Were asked.
Did we talk about if this board was prepared to vote on this budget? We were told that we have to vote on it.
No.
Point order. We were told. I can pull the tape. We were told that we had to vote on it on the 27th, which is today, because it's our last meeting.
We were told that we had to have it approved before June 3rd, by June 30th, before July 1st, is what we were told, that we had to. But the question was whether or not we would be prepared to vote on it at tonight's meeting. And those questions were asked during those meetings. But from the tone that I'm hearing is that there's still some unreadiness. So,
Trustee Gross, is it fair to say that did you not hear all of my displeasure since
I
I've
heard
been talking
everything.
about it?
I heard
So
everything.
what did you assume that I was all of a sudden now you're thinking there's some unreadiness?
No. Because it was even asked on the 18th, are we prepared to vote on the budget on the 22nd? And there was no issues. No one said anything. I think I'm not the only one. That was
Excuse
there.
me, with all respect, on the 18th, it was stated we would not discuss the budget. Catherine had an emergency.
No, I knew that. No.
So we have never sat down and did our study session. Come on.
We did on the 11th.
Is that what that's
we
okay? So let me just digress. My training of dealing with the budget, and I've said this before, having been on MEA and NEA levels, it take us 2 days to go through, as she stated, line by line by line. We've yet to have a true budget session. We get parts, and if you teach, you say it's parts to whole. So maybe you thought that gave us a complete budget, but for me, absolutely no. Make no mistake. You know, we've always had this with the budget, especially as it relates to Trustee Dooley. And again, for the record, I'm going to bring it before this board to have an audit.
Trustee Miller.
And my dissatisfaction has nothing to do with the line by line, because independently I did go line by line. It was the fact that everything is presented to the board backwards. There was nothing, no prior conversation before this budget was presented to us. Like, okay, the budget is done. Here it is for your review. And it's like, well, hold on. I had some questions. I know I've said until I'm blue in the face that I've had questions. Why didn't the administration come to us? Where is there some room to make some adjustments for our students? I've asked those questions. I've asked them, and I will continue to ask them. This is nothing new. I have been very diligent with my questions and my dissatisfaction with how this budget was presented to the board. I don't have a problem with the line by line. I don't have no problem with none of that. My problem is we're told what to do instead of being inclusive. Yep, I'm saying it. Instead of being inclusive and have a conversation in accordance with how it should be done, in accordance with all the classes that I've taken, how it should be done with is a discussion from the administration and the board, and we're presented a budget and we're told. That's my opinion, and that's what I have.
And that's fine, and I respect that. So it's apparent to me, just to me, I'm not speaking on behalf of any other board member, that we are not prepared to make any vote for the budget to pass tonight. What would it take for this board to be prepared or ready to vote on a budget that the state says has to be voted upon before July 1st by June 30th? What would it take for this board to be ready to vote on a budget, and we only have a week left? What can we do in the interim to ensure that we're prepared? That's what I'm asking.
I would like to suggest that we post something so within an 18-hour time frame, it meets the OMA, and we sit down from 8 to 5 or whatever we need to do with both Catherine and Chris and whoever else, and we and those are the public that want to be a part of it, and we go through it and get these questions answered. It can be done so we can vote and be in compliance with the law.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking.
Okay, thank you. And go ahead, Trustee Miller.
Okay, Trustee Gross, in response to your question, how about, let me start with this. We have $1,975,949 in general administration, $4,335,379 in school administration, but $97,000 in our student activity. There was a $795,615 reduction in instructional staff support services. Why? There's a $300,000 reduction in salaries. Where did that go? How does it benefit our students? So let's start there. And I pulled this right from the budget. And these are questions I would have asked if I would have gotten it and we would have been able to have dialogue.
And Thank you, Trustee Miller. I do want Secretary Davis Smith. You had your hand raised.
That's really what I was just gonna ask, if we can have a study session and table this and have a study session, because, you know, so that everybody can feel comfortable with voting on the budget.
Okay. No, that's perfectly fine. The board can definitely vote, but I also want to just go ahead, Trustee Bowman.
I was just saying I would agree in good taste for the community and transparency. I think we should, do this the right way so that way we don't have any hiccups later on down the line with somebody unhappy with the budget, and we can do our jobs a lot more effectively too as well too.
Okay. That's perfectly fine. But I also just want to make sure that to Catherine's efforts, to Jim Graham's efforts, to Chris's efforts, when we had our board retreat, when they went through, this is all the information that they went over. They talked about this. They talked about these things when we had our meeting, when Catherine was talking about it. These are the things that was also discussed. So I just want to make sure that trustees, again, as we've said before, if there are any questions, the finance department has said their doors are open. Please contact them so that we can address any questions. And I just want to make sure that we are doing that. It obviously, Catherine, the board would like to have a study session, but I just want to let, even going forward, beyond today, if there are ever any questions regarding the finances of this school district, the board trustees they can go to the finance department and get questions. And sometimes that may be easier because you can ask specific questions and have whatever information. But overall, this information, but I'm sorry that we are at this point. If not everybody is comfortable with it, then we're not moving forward at this time.
For
Yes, Trustee
clarity
Miller.
for myself, I don't need a study session. I have dissected this budget and I know everything about it. Again, for the record, my issue is how this budget was presented to the board with no discussion, no input. And again, here I have 1, 2, 3, 5 questions about money that could be shifted around to benefit our students. That's administration's job to bring that to the board and tell us and give us an explanation as to how they derived with this budget. I didn't get that. So I don't need a study session. I don't need a line by line. I've done that. So my displeasure is, this is nothing new. I'm sorry. Have I been in la la land? Have no one been listening to every bit of every time I say I have a question? It wasn't done the proper way in accordance with this, in accordance with that. And y'all just want me, Trustee, to get up here and just say, and because we got to have it done by the 30th, because we have to have it done, that's not my fault. I asked my questions. I went through line by line. I did. And I know what the law states.
No one's faulting you. My question is, no, I did not fault you. I just said unreadiness for this board to vote on a budget tonight. What would it take for us to ensure that this budget passed by the 30th? I'm not saying that it's anyone's fault. I'm not blaming fault. All I'm saying is we've had opportunities for specific questions to be answered, and we had discussions. And tonight, it appears to me, or it sounds as if this board is not prepared to pass a budget tonight. Right. So so that's all I'm asking. What would it take, Trustee Miller, for you to be comfortable to ensure that this budget gets passed? All I'm asking. What would it take for this entire board, including Trustee Miller? What would it take for this entire board to ensure that this budget will be passed before the actual June 30th deadline? I'm not saying no one's at fault. No, I'm not saying. All I'm saying is that we need to ensure that we are ready to vote on a balanced budget before July 1st. That's all. And my question is to this entire board, not specific board members, but this entire board, what would it take to ensure that we're all prepared to be able to vote on a balanced budget before June 30th? That includes our new board trustee, who I said at the last meeting, and he indicated that tonight, because of the lack of information that he has to go through it with the finance department, that he would abstain from the vote tonight, correct? Because of that. So mine is what do we need to do to ensure that he would have the proper information, the remaining of the board members will have the proper information for us to be all on one page to ensure that we can pass a balanced budget. And tonight, to me, it appears that we're not prepared to do so. So mine is, instead of continue to go through this discussion, to even look at the finance information, we delay that, go into a board study session where these questions can be asked upon the finance department and the superintendent.
I would be happy if one of my questions could be answered
I'm
tonight.
asking that all your questions be answered. And if so, Dr. Leverett can document them, and then we can come back to a board study session, answer those questions, have a special meeting before June 30th or by June 30th or on June 30th to ensure that we are all prepared to vote on a balanced budget. That's all I'm asking.
So let me, the record reflect, Trustee Dooley is suggesting that we do accept holding a budget session within the next 48 hours to give us time to digest the information, regurgitate it, and then make any proposed changes or suggestions to both the superintendent and Catherine. That I think that's only fair, because it struck me when we had an audience person said, "Where are the proposals? I know this budget is just not exact. There's no change." And I stated this upon coming on this board. I said everything we do needs to lead to academic achievement and its sustainability. How does this work? How does this support? How do we justify spending these dollars to support what's going to be our deliverable and our measurable outcome that says, yes, we did our due diligence, made the best decisions to support academic achievement and its sustainability for all students to learn.
Okay, thank Trustee Miller.
I do concur with the study session. I know I said I didn't need it, but what I do need, I know 1 + 1 is going to be 2, but I need to know how we got there. And the only way that I can learn that, I can know that, is from Dr. Leverett, you either yourself or your administration team. I personally know that 1 + 1 is 2. Catherine, Jim Graham, Chris, they have been instrumental in helping, I'm going to say Trustee Miller, understand that. I have a firm understanding of that. I need to know how we got to some of these numbers and why we didn't shift some things around. I want to know directly from the people who supposedly did this budget, which according is supposed to be administration. I want some answers before I'm going to feel comfortable with doing anything.
All right, so I want to be consistent with I'm going to say that was board comments as it relates to the budget, but I want to just offer one last time if there were any more public comments. No? Well, we didn't. In all fairness, we did jump, but I'm fine with just cutting it off right there because we started talking while it was public comment. So I just wanted to be respectful and come back and say that. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm gonna make this quick. Just have a couple of questions, and Catherine, don't go nowhere. So when you start talking about dollars for the student per student, it is actually 10,500. Now, what we don't ever hear is the numbers for special needs and the at-risk dollars. We never hear them. We always hear what it is costing per student. The other piece, I keep hearing Mr. Jim Graham's name. Is he still an employee of this district? Because I know you got to be paying them to help with this budget. Those are my simple questions. Is when you start talking about how much it is per student, and as a union, we do a lot of studying on all this as well, that it is 10.5 here in Pontiac per student. You have not added in the at-risk dollars. You have not added in the special needs dollars. Start saying what the at-risk dollars are, and then start throwing in the special needs. Then I think everybody will have a clear-cut understanding, because you keep saying 13. No, it is not accurate. It is 10.5 per student, and we're not in that formula. Am I correct? So again, when you start getting all the money, and when you guys go through your study, make sure you see the at-risk dollars and the special needs dollars, because we know the at-risk dollars is much bigger than the per student. So just please double and triple check that when y'all come back. Then we'll have a better understanding. And again, please answer this question. Is Jim Graham still an employee of this district? Because I know we already have Miss Catherine, and I think we have a company name. Okay, there it is. So I just wanted to know if Jim Graham's still an employee when we have a finance person right here. That's all I want to know. Thank you very much.
Oops, thank you. All right, so I heard the comments from the board as to how we want to move forward. And when we get to that finance portion where there is a vote, we will table the approval. So for now, Catherine, I think we're good. We don't have any more
Do you want
questions
me
as
to
it relates to
respond,
the.
though? Would you like me to respond to him?
Yes,
Okay,
you can
yeah,
respond.
okay, so so the difference is with the total revenue for student, that's about $32,000. So the difference between the 13,068 for a student that wasn't at risk or didn't have special needs, when we look at our entire population, then we're up to that higher revenue per student that we show in the budget presentation that we went through at the public hearing. So that's about $32,000. So that's your difference right there. Now you have to keep in mind that our expenditure per student is much higher than other districts when you look at that graph as well. So there's a graph on both of those pieces that shows the difference. But yes, so that is your difference right there. So that's why we look like we're highest. But then when you drop it down compared to just if we didn't have those circumstances, but we do. So that's what we get. And then we look at our spending per student, and it about evens out right now. It's about $30,000 when you look at what we've put together. And that includes all those pieces when we look at our entire student base. So I think that also answered the question that was asked about why does it show 32,000 on that one graph. And that's why, because that is going to bring in all your state dollars that you get in for at-risk, special ed, mental health, all those items, and then also the title dollars that we get through federal grants because of our student base. So yes, it is higher because of that, but we also have higher costs because of that as well. The good thing is with the closing of the two schools and with that large amount, when we look at the budget, we have looked at items to reduce the cost going to things that aren't going towards the students, such as maintenance, security, lots of upkeep on those buildings, improvements. So now when we right size for our district, those dollars we'll still have, and we're moving them to where I think the public would like them to be. So that was the effort with, due diligence and in good faith. We took with the history, we know what's going to happen in 26, 27, and then those changes in place. So that's how we approach that.
All right, thank you very much,
Okay,
Catherine.
thank you.
Dr. Leverett, K-5 STEM.
Yes, at this time, I will turn it over to Bree. This is a report only in regards to our K-5 STEM for Pontiac School District. Bree.
Sorry, Dr. Leverett, you get me too.
Okay.
Good evening, trustees, President Hannah, Dr. Leverett. Welcome, Mr. Bowman, to the board. My name is Jeff Mosgers. I'm the Director of Technology for Field Services, and I'm going to be introducing the brains behind this project. Bree Pierce is our Technology Integration Specialist for the district. So she works, as a reminder, she works with all the teachers, administrators, staff to use technology effectively throughout the district. But the other piece she does is she works with the curriculum department hand in hand as we look at curriculum opportunities. And one of the areas that we're excited to work with curriculum on is the K-5 STEM initiative for next year. And Bree's going to run you through what we're proposing to the district, and using some Title I dollars, we'll have the opportunity to really provide some unique opportunities for our students in K-5 over the next 3 years. So I'll turn it over to Bree, and then if there's any questions from the board, we're happy to entertain those.
All right, good evening. If you could go ahead one slide. So this STEM opportunity is for grades K through 5 across the district. And really what we're looking at is just trying to get students obviously more engaged with STEM, but to use that kind of as a vehicle for like our core subjects. So when we want to think about increasing student achievement, student engagement, we can do that through some of the avenues through STEM. So with the curriculum department, we've kind of put together a progression that students starting in kindergarten through 5th grade would go through to be engaged using different STEM items. So we have a small amount in the district right now, and then a few more that I can kind of get through like Oakland schools. But if we can kind of increase the amount of items that we have with STEM and push those into classrooms and give teachers the training and give students the exposure to them, we think that this is really going to help students come to school and increase that attendance, increase their engagement. So grades K through 1, kind of a focus on hands-on explorations, just getting them curious. How do these things work? When we present them something like we have these little robots that look like bees, we call them bee bots, like what do they do? When I push this button, why does it go this way? And kind of understanding stuff like that. 2nd and 3rd grade, looking at guided making and collaboration. So getting their hands on things and working together to build out a system to make something together. And then grades 4 through 5, all these things are building on each other, but at that point, really giving students the capacity to drive their own learning, to design something and present and practice those skills as well. So sometimes we think of STEM just as that like science only, like experiments and stuff, but we see it obviously help with like literacy and stuff as well. Next slide. So just as we kind of put this plan together, like I said, I worked with the curriculum department to put this together, but there were kind of some other ways that I kind of helped to have this whole thing kind of come together once it was kind of shared out. So I looked at the Reimagine plan and just kind of saw that this would be a really great way to increase the capacity at the elementary level for tech integration. So, if we have these things available, how do we get them in the classroom? How do we get teachers to feel comfortable using them, students to use them as well? Like I said, through Oakland schools, there are a few different avenues, like libraries, checkout libraries that teachers do have access to. And a few teachers across the district at the elementary level have checked stuff out through them. So I kind of pulled that data, like what are they using? Sometimes I've gone in the classroom and used those things with them. So this is actually Project Excel, but we did like the BBOT lesson. So I know that those are something popular. So I tried to kind of put something like those types of things on the list if they align with curriculum. And then just talking with other districts that have K-5 STEM models, looking at how do they set it up? How might we obviously adapt it for the needs of our district? Like I said, I met with the curriculum department. They shared out like their curriculum. Here's the different things that we focus on. Here's the different units that we do so that I could kind of look at what are things that are available? How might they align appropriately with the existing curriculum? I don't think that this is something that's going to, now we have to develop all these new lessons and do all these different things. It's going to fit in and align with curriculum. To me, it's just giving students that like hands-on engagement with it. So they can still do, their wit and wisdom lessons, but now you've got that hands-on approach that really drives that engagement. And then I also looked at the future grade level banding plans kind of as an opportunity that would give me, if all the 1st grade teachers are in one room together or at one school, we can kind of all meet together and really focus in, what are the lessons and activities that we can bring certain items into. So I think that's a really great opportunity as well. Next slide. Thank you. So as this STEM opportunity kind of came to fruition as we're looking at it, again, I want to provide hands-on career-connected learning experience to K-5 students. So we know at the middle school somewhat, and then especially at the high school level, we have that, career focus with the CTE programming. How can we start that at the lower grades, right? How can we get students already thinking about what are some skills that I might want, that I might be able to use in a career? let me start kind of exploring them right now. That's really a big focus that we have in those elementary levels. Giving them those real world experiences. So last year we had a hydroponics system that the students at Owen Elementary, fourth graders, did. And I came in every week. We, tended to it, and then they were able to harvest it and had a little like salad party. So it gives them those real world experiences, right? They talked about in their social studies class, kind of like the economics of using a system like that, understanding the science of plants and such. So it hits so many different subjects. And the students were so excited, like when they would see me come in, they knew, oh, I get to go take care of that. And then they had their fun little salad party. Can we go back? Sorry, one more thing. We are focusing on a design mindset in students. So instead of thinking, let's just push all this technology on students, we want to think about what are the things that can kind of develop that mindset of how do I design, how do I think in this different way than maybe I've been getting in the classroom. So the items that we're looking at are specifically chosen for this design mindset. Not necessarily everything is just a student sitting in front of a screen. I would say very few things really are. They're understanding technology and these different ideas of things with like artificial intelligence, using these hands-on items. So you would see, and I have a few examples of like some of the items that we're looking at. They're not, let me just have another computer sitting in front of me. They're things that like students would actually engage with and be able to learn those concepts with some hands-on items. This kind of programming ties in with our district strategic plan, an emphasis on project-based learning, school improvement plans. Then in fifth grade, students have a visit from the STEMI, which is it's a big trailer from Oakland schools that comes for a week. And in fifth grade, and in this district, students get to go on board, and there's all different sorts of STEM career-focused items on board. There's a picture that is from like their self-driving cars is kind of one station. They have a few different stations that students explore. I think, and I love that they do it in fifth grade here, because all of these items, if students are exposed to it kindergarten first all the way through fifth grade, they're exposed to these different items. By the time they go on the STEMI, they've got an idea of the things that they're already interested in, and now they're getting all this more exposure to it. So it really builds up well to it. So some of the different like B-bots and little robot cars and stuff that we have would tie in obviously with that, but then there's a bunch more items and stations that they would go in as well. And then this is also a great thing for like family engagement nights. So, if students are using these different items in the classroom, have them at these family engagement nights so that families can see what students are being exposed to, and then provide some resources that they can kind of continue that learning on at home. When it comes to staff training and support for this, we're looking at kind of rolling this out with some of the professional development days that we have at the beginning of the school year, just to get teachers exposed to the items. A lot of teachers I work with are very interested in all these different STEM items that are available, but sometimes they just don't know how to use them. And that kind of is, I'm not going to bring something into my classroom and give it to my students. I don't know what to do with it. So giving some of that training at the beginning really gets them more comfortable and ready to kind of roll with it. And then I'm here in the district full time, so giving that ongoing support throughout the school year, checking in. I'm always available to kind of check in and model lessons with them, work with them on their planning time or anything. Obviously, answer emails and stuff throughout the school year. And like I said, teachers kind of just need to build that comfort with using these. They're very excited about them once they see how engaged students are with them. So if we think about kind of rolling it out, I don't think day one, year one, every teacher is just going to pull everything out in their classroom and go with it. So looking at kind of like a 3-year progression, I'm looking at kind of developing some lessons, some activities, and then modeling them in the classrooms, or maybe like in a library. Teachers can kind of pull in their classes, and then both the teacher and the student can kind of see what are the different ways that we can use these. By year 2, I think the teacher would kind of have that more confidence in using these items. We can kind of co-teach lessons together. obviously students would participate. And then by year 3, we've kind of built up that understanding and knowledge of teachers to kind of be ready to do those things more independently in their classroom. That's kind of the training and support model. These are just some of the different items that we're kind of looking at. So like I said, intentionally, like none of these are things where students just looking at a screen, right? These are hands-on things. Like the books, for example, would be aligned. So, you know, the day before we're doing a lesson on building, they can read the book that's on design and building. So trying to be intentional about the items that we're choosing and making them appropriate grades K through 5. I had a feeling those were videos just of students. I've been into some classrooms and students have been able to play around with the toys or the STEM kits. So those were some of the videos from that. But the next slide has pictures. Oh, maybe it is going to work. I don't know if you click on one, if it'll play it. Maybe not. The video on the right was a student. These are our little robot cars. And then every color tells it to do a different thing when it hits that tile. And I tell the students, you start with green, you end with purple or red, figure out in between like what does what with the different colors. And I kind of let them go on their way. And like 5 minutes later, the student came up to me, first grader, had a whole little route built out. And he was so excited to show me and his teacher. And it was just like amazing that they just catch on these concepts so quickly. So that was really cute. The next slide is pictures. So these were at Rogers Elementary. I want to say 1st and 4th grade I've done activities. So these are just some of the different items. Those are our Ozobots on the left. In the middle are Strawbees and Merge Cubes on the right. And then some additional pictures as well. And then these are just some examples of ways that we align the curriculum. So again, this isn't replacing any of the existing curriculum. We're using these things to as an avenue to teach the curriculum. So for example, for literacy in kindergarten, students are learning how to retell stories. So they can use those Sphero Indies to retell stories through coding. So those are just some of the examples. They apply to, you know, we can really pull them into all content areas. But that's kind of the development of our K-5 STEM program. If we have any questions.
Trustee Dooley?
Thanks for what you do. Can you give me a brief background? I know you were introduced as a tech. What else does your background entail in education as it relates to curriculum design?
Yeah, so I was a classroom teacher. I taught at the secondary level for 7 years. And then I transitioned into this role and I support the district K-12.
Okay, so then you would understand what I'm about to say. Those are good, but we should look at targeting skills. So as we target a skill, we can transfer and make it applicable to anything they do. Couple of the games, what will be the outcome? And what I mean by that, at the end of this, students will be able to do, and then how do we know they met it? Because they'll be able to do, they'll answer hypothetically 3 out of 5 questions correctly. So those are the types of things, the metrics I would like to see tied to these. Identify some skills by the skill readiness, and I probably have the name wrong, but the state identifies skills that a student needs to have. I think it would benefit this district in particular to go through and link those skills with the activity, and then we can have a measurable outcome. I think it would be more beneficial than just doing an activity. Right. And then as it relates to the teacher, integration, we've been in tech quite some time. And most of our teachers are getting younger. They're not as old as I am. So they have grown up on tech. So they know how to integrate tech. So that would be what I would want us to look at. I would also want us to kind of take out some of the technology for K and 1 and let us lay some foundational skills, some phonics, some phonemics for the kids to get a basic understanding, because they get to tech at home. So that's just some suggestions I would want to have some metrics measured and some skills identifiable per grade level, because overall, what you presented is what teachers should be doing anyway. What should be occurring in the classroom? That's what learning looks like.
Yeah, and so like I said, when I met with the curriculum department, they shared their curriculum with me. It's obviously going to be a process to go through and align those things with, here's the outcomes that we would get with each thing. But we are trying to be very intentional about that.
You must be deliberate and intentional. In order to succeed in teaching our students, you must be deliberate and intentional. And base one, if we were using the analogy of baseball, let's identify what we want them to learn. And that would be with a skill set, opposed to just saying, oh, this is a good idea. This is a nice little game they can play. So the game, how does it relate? Even I saw a picture with lines. How does that pull in angles, metrics of measurement? All I'm saying is, let's be deliberate and intentional of every single thing we do will equal learning. They learn something out of the activity. It's just not an activity for the sake of playtime and being observant. They do that at home.
Right.
We must take those skills and add, build, spiral up. That would be my only suggestion.
Trustee Gross.
Thank you. We had the opportunity this past year to go over to Compton School District in California, and we were able to see some of this in action. And one of the main things that I asked the students about was they were learning, but it was fun for them. And the key was gaining their interest in order to teach them better. And it showed from, we saw kindergartens, first graders, all involved in specific activities, but they were actually learning because it was fun. And they were creating, and everyone was involved. And then all the way up to the high school, they were able to be creative, but it made it fun for them. And that's the I think is the biggest thing, is that learning should also be fun. And to see the faces of those kids, and all of them were involved. According to the teacher that I spoke with, they had over in high school, we're talking Compton, who had some issues for years, right? But since they went over to this type of learning in their curriculum, they had, I think he told me, they had a 95% graduation rate, right? They had 100% parental involvement because it was fun. And like you said, the parents were involved. But I agree with Trustee Dooley. Not only should kids be allowed to be able to actively be involved with games or things like that, but we have to be able to measure whether or not they're learning and progressing. Because we're having some issues now. So if we keep doing the same old thing and expecting different results, that's called insanity. We try something, but once this is implemented, if that's where we're going, we need to be able to see the results, progress or lack of, to determine whether or not this is working and to move on to something different instead of continue to do something that's not working. But again, we were able to see it in action in all of these kids. I was amazed at how creative first, second, and third graders were, creating ankle bracelets that monitor their steps when they walk, step monitors in the second grade. And they use computers. And all of them did that. And so I said, this is something that we can bring to Pontiac, because I think our kids are just as bright as those in Compton. But it's all about the implementation, right? And the consistency and the involvement, the complete involvement of teachers who's teaching them. They have to be excited to do so too. And so it's something we can look at, but we need to see some measurable outcomes to determine whether or not this is working or not. That's just this board member speaking, but it was a great look. It was a great look. Thank you.
So, Trustee Gross, just to reiterate, one of our colleagues on the STEM I often refers to STEM as stuff that excites me. And that's what's the best part about STEM is the kids realize they want to be at school. And we know we have an attendance issue in many of our districts. So using STEM to engage students to want to be at school and want to learn is where we're going to see some of those measurable outcomes in teaching in math, reading, science, arts. And that's why we came up with this project, is really to engage and work with the teachers. And Cynthia, if you can go back to the slide that kind of talks about the transition. While Trustee Dooley, I agree, our younger generation of teachers is much more tech literate. I still would disagree a little bit that they know how to truly integrate technology into the curriculum. And that's why we have the integration specialists and really work with our teachers. A lot of times they're just so focused on what I have to teach. You know, a new teacher is overwhelmed. And where the Bree can come in is that subject matter expert and that technology integration specialist and work with them, take a little of the stress off. Let me show you how this is going to be done. And then we're going to work together the next year or the next lesson and team teach. And then by the third year or the third opportunity, they have the opportunity to take the lead in that comfort and really start to see those aha moments and where they can engage their students in those learning outcomes. They're the experts in the learning outcomes. We're looking for opportunities to really boost that engagement and match it with some of their learning outcomes through intentional dialogue and conversation with the curriculum department. So this was all built with intentionality. Also, as we look at the CTE program that we have in Pontiac, we've provided a number of opportunities for our high school students, but we have to start in elementary school for allow our kids start to see and discover what it is they're interested in. So we did the hydroponics as an opportunity last year. Talk about STEM, horticulture, you know, plant growth, whatever it is. You don't know. You might have the next generation of urban farmer coming out of that fourth grade classroom that wants to build a garden in Pontiac and do that. That's great. That becomes a passion project or a future career. Or we're looking at the coding opportunities and teaching kids coding in kindergarten and first grade that continues to build through fifth. And then when they go to sixth grade, they're taking a computer class. Seventh grade, they're taking a different computer class. By the time they're at high school, we're rewriting that curriculum and amping it up because our kids are coming with so many different skills. That's the long-term goal that we see under Reimagine and the strategic plan as we're working forward and making this continuation. So there is much intentionality. I agree. We need to have those outcomes. We'll work closely with the curriculum. We'll work closely with the building administration and the teachers to have those as part of the lessons.
Thank you.
And I look forward to that. In fact, I'm looking forward to working directly as part of our different policy committees, not policy, but different committees to work with school improvement curriculum or whatever we're going to call it this year. Because our professional learning communities need to come in those types of things, instructional learning cycles where we're checking for learning, where we re-implement some things that have worked in the past. So I look forward to having that relationship with this group and the curriculum director or whomever that will be responsible for implementing instructional strategies as we utilize best practices.
Thank you. And I just want to add, I'm so happy to hear you, Jeff, mention the CTE program at the high school, because one of the things that we know is that it's all about exposure for our kids. And it shouldn't just happen when they get to high school and then we're trying to rush them or want them to hurry up and make a decision about the rest of their life when they get to 12th grade about what they want to be when they grow up. So seeing this put in place at the elementary level, this is where that exploration begins. This helps them to start dreaming or thinking or just figuring out some different things. And then we continue to nurture that when they get to middle school. So that way, when they get to high school, we can help them to get on a pathway that can lead them to success when they graduate. So I'm happy that we're doing this and that we're now starting to nurture that K-5 population and help them so that they can get on that pathway to success, be it through our CTE program when they get to high school. So thank you.
One last question. I see you have the projected for years. Do you have intervals that you're measuring? Have you broken up this in intervals? Or you're just doing year one, you expect it? How are you going to do your checks and balances? I guess that would be my question.
No, that hasn't really. I think kind of that first year is focused on just gaining that comfort with using these different STEM items and building out like the lessons and activities, but aligning it with the curriculum. So kind of figuring out, okay, in October, where are second grade teachers at with their math, right? And where can we start kind of aligning these different things? So you can definitely put those like, little checkpoints in along the way to say, what is third graders been exposed to and what are their outcomes so far, and being able to check in. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So just as a follow-up, we'll be bringing recommendations for purchases in July and August to the board for the components, so we can get all the different orders in place. So it just takes time to work because there's so many different sources for all of these pieces and parts that it could not be done for this board meeting.
What did we just purchase? We purchased something for technology. I voted
Purchased
against it.
devices,
And then
correct.
we purchased something. Dr. Devison brought up some materials. I'm just saying, I think that's, yeah.
This isn't sole source.
The
so-
proposed, again, those are things that need to be put to us, your proposals of what you'd like to have as we look at the budget to coincide that. That's just a thought. So, and even when you do that, that will help us see dollars going directly in support of delivery of instruction that directly supports academic achievement.
Yeah, this is out of the Title I budget. So we'll make sure that as we have those opportunities, we get as much information to the board as soon as possible. But we want to make sure you had the concept and the why behind why these recommendations will be coming forward at future board meetings.
All right, was there?
The device purchase.
This is for the device purchase, right? The Chromebooks, right, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. Was there any other questions or comments about that? Did you have something? Yeah.
Didn't we vote on Chromebooks before?
Yes, you did.
Revised.
So this is an unusual discussion item.
Okay, help me out now.
I am.
Because I know it was Chromebooks, equipment. It was 3 items that we voted on.
Yes.
And no, it was 3 or 4 because some were voted from sinking fund. Remember, we had the concern with the sinking fund. We talked about sinking fund items and we talked about grant items. And I thought Chromebook was one that we voted yay on.
This is
Actually, we had tabled this. We didn't table it.
We approved it.
Yes.
We have to modify the
It's
board's.
revised.
We revised, yes.
This is a modification and revision due to an error on the quotes that we got from the vendor.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, help me out, Jeff. That's all.
I'm-
I'm going to make
I'm
sure.
trying.
Because I do
Just
recall
read
that.
I'm
Read-
I
trying.
Can you
remember
read the
everything,
background?
but that I remember because of the various funds that
Yes.
the monies came from, correct?
Yes, this is not one I wanted to bring to you, but I have to.
So we want the kids to have Chromebooks, but explain to me why we're voting twice.
So we're requesting the board approve a modification to what was approved at the last board meeting for 2,112 Chromebooks from Trafara. The quote that we received numerous times from the vendor was inaccurate. They gave us the right product, the wrong price. They are not able to honor that price, and they have a disclaimer on their quotes that says, in the event of an error, they do not have to honor the quotes. We had several meetings with the vendor and Lenovo, pushing them to honor the price that they provided. The challenge is the price unit cost that they provided us was $60 less than what the actual selling price is. So if I can finish, then I'll be happy to entertain questions. So they provide us those quotes. We looked around at all of our options, whether we rescinded that award to the particular vendor. All of the Chromebooks that are available from Dell, HP, and Acer with the similar specs are $60 or more per unit higher than the going price for the Lenovo device. So we have to come back and ask the board to approve an additional $126,720 out of the title grant. The good news is the money is still there in the budget. We thought we had some nice pricing and savings. It was still in the budget amount. We confirmed with Diane that it wasn't reallocated, but it's one of those that you do not want to have to come back to a board and ask, but where we do not have another option other than purchasing less devices. If we did not amend the agreement, we would have to purchase approximately 393 less devices, which would impact our device count at the secondary level at the high school. So with coming back from a 1-to-1 and putting carts back in the classrooms, you need 2 to 3 times the number of devices as students because of the way the schedules are built, the number of rooms, the number of sections. That's why we need that substantial amount of devices. So it's an unfortunate error. The vendor recognized, apologized profusely, manager apologized. They were not able, the Chromebooks are just a low cost profit margin item. They couldn't absorb it. We pushed and pushed, and I tried everything I could. What I was able to do is get them to throw in some additional services to the value of about $22,000 for the district. So they're going to offer a professional development for us at valued about $6,000. We'll have to work with the curriculum development, whether we want that in AI or other technology-based areas. And they're going to do the device enrollment and unpacking and asset tagging, which is about $15,000, $16,000 in services. So they're going to eat that cost. They're going to lose money on this deal with the added services. But that's about the best I could do other than reducing the number of devices. So as I said, not a fun one to come back and ask for more money. It's only happened a couple times in my career, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it is one that I had to come back for tonight.
In looking at the other devices that we're trying to replace, were there not any devices available to be used?
We are repurposing many of the devices that we're getting back from students.
So
unfortunately, they are not in the best condition. So putting them all out into service, cracked screens, chipped keyboards, we have a number of repairs sitting in our parts room as we try to work through repairing. And when you have a $300 or $250 device, the repair on a screen is about $75 on a $200, $250 to $300 device. If you have to replace a keyboard, that adds another $150. So the repair cost on these devices is a little bit of a challenge. As we said, it's an entry-level device. While they're built rugged as much as we can, unfortunately, middle schoolers have more time and energy and tend to be the most destructive age group in our devices. And we also don't, we do lose some devices to transient students as well.
who made the mistake?
The vendor made the mistake.
vendor made the mistake. And
I did not catch it.
$60 per device is the cost that we need to come up with, or
An additional
be
$60 per device.
398 devices short of what the initial order was, correct?
$393, correct.
393. And you have no number of units that can be salvaged that would be turned
Not
back
that
in.
many.
Not
I don't
even
know offhand
100.
exactly. We're going through the stuff that we collected, but I don't anticipate that we'll have 393 devices. And then also we were going to use some of those devices for students if they needed them at home, because we're not doing an at-home program as well. So we figured we would use the older devices. They don't have to be perfect at home. They have to be operational. But that was going to be in our at-home use because we tend not to get those back as well.
whatever happened to the equipment that was housed in the computer labs? So those desktops are not available for usage? I'm just curious.
We have some desktops in.
I mean, they can be
in the
used
high
for
school.
classroom. See, again, that's one of those things, Trustee Miller, that my mind think, let's see how we can utilize some of the stuff we already have before we spend more money, because I haven't had a forensic audit yet.
Any other questions,
Yes,
trustees?
yes.
Trustee Gross.
I almost forgot. That was, this money is coming through grants, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Title
So there's
Title I
Title I
grants.
grants. And because of this current delay, right, we will have these Chromebooks on time for the school year, right?
Yes.
The vendor tells us we'll have them if we can get it
The
approved.
vendor didn't tell you we were $60 short on the other one. So
I can only rely on the supply chain so much. But these are available in a few weeks.
Just make sure upon,
We're pushing.
if approved, upon receiving them, that you provide this board with that information that the Chromebooks are in. And
I'll
plus two, I recall in the last discussion, a lot of these things are outdated, is why we're updating as well.
We have several obsolete devices, so
absolutely.
it's part of a
And that
refresh
was one of the
cycle
reasons
as
why
well.
the newest, because a lot of them are outdated. Thank you.
All right, any other questions, trustees? All right, can I get a motion for the approval of device purchase Chromebooks?
So moved.
It's been moved by Trustee Gross, supported by Secretary David Smith for the approval of device purchase Chromebooks. Questions? Roll call, please.
President Hannah,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley,
Absolutely, yes.
Trustee Gross,
Yes.
that passes 5-0.
All right, thank you very much. Next on the agenda, regular working agenda for discussion and action is superintendent evaluation rating. The superintendent was recently evaluated by the Pontiac School District Board of Education, where she received effective during its meeting on June 16th, when the superintendent's evaluation process was completed by the Board of Education. Members of the Board of Education recognized that the superintendent had achieved the objectives that she and the Board of Education previously agreed to. It is a recommendation of the Board of Education to approve the superintendent's evaluation for the fiscal year 25-26 as presented.
President Hannah,
Yes.
for the record, I did not receive her evaluation, the report. Based on the numbers that I can remember, I would like to see a report before I vote for or against that.
Okay. Any other
What was
trustees?
his name? The gentleman from
Scott.
MAS, Scott, was supposed to have sent that out to us individually, or you were, but I don't have it.
No, I haven't. I didn't get the remarks from Scott.
So
but
you're gonna
the-
write up that she has an effective
I'm writing up
evaluation?
what I received on the bear, and this was because Scott did send the evaluation over, but I did not receive it.
So who received it for the bear to be written?
Superintendent received it, and Cynthia received it.
So when does a person do their own evaluation stuff? In all my years of being a teacher, I've gotten evaluated. I've never been able to receive the information before it was calculated. Are you kidding me?
She received this information from Scott. He sent over this information. So the bear is for us.
And we didn't get it?
recommendation for the board to approve it as presented. That's what the board is here to do. Approve the evaluation as presented.
We haven't seen it. Did you? I'm going to ask each trustee present individually. Did you see the evaluation, Mr. Gross, Trustee Gross? Yes or no? I don't want an explanation. If in all due respect,
I'm going to ask.
all I want is a
to
yes or no.
I'm going to answer your question. I saw the evaluation that we did,
Yeah.
but I have not seen the actual
results.
Thank you. That's the question. No, I have not seen the results.
Thank you.
That's what I'm
Trustee Davis, have you seen the results? Thank you. Trustee Bowman, did you see the results?
No, I have not seen the results.
Trustee Miller, did you see the results?
In our board packet, we have one page of a compiling summative evaluation score. That's all I have. This one is one page of the different components and the total score. Signed 6/17/25. But the complete evaluation, no. This is what was included in our
That's
board
not the
packet.
complete. And for the record, Jennifer Dooley, Trustee Dooley has not seen the completed results of the trustees' evaluation, of the superintendent's evaluation.
Trustees, any other questions or comments? Trustee Gross?
President Hannah, it was said to
Yes.
us during the evaluation that we would be able to obtain and receive the actual complete results before this meeting to review. And I was curious. Yeah, it was discussed that we would be able to see them. Yes, I'm sorry, dear. Yes, it was said to us that we'd be able to see the complete results for us to be able to come in with a statement that was made at this board meeting. And so, can't keep doing this.
Exactly.
Not that we have an issue. I mean, we know because we actually did the actual numbers, but we needed to see the actual culmination of the actual amount and what was there in order for us to come out and do, because it was said to us that we would receive it. Am I correct?
You are absolutely correct. And that's why I want to double check in the board packet to make sure that I didn't miss something of the 500 and something pages. No, we did not factually receive that information. That was told to us as a board that we would have that prior to this meeting, prior to voting on it. That's what was specifically said to us.
So, President Hannah?
So, yes, so
Again,
it sounds like we
there
can
is some
table.
concerns we need to table.
We will
until
table the
this board is
approval of the
comfortable.
superintendent's
Absolutely.
evaluation until we each receive copies of the final evaluation tallies from MASB.
And we
Scott?
have to be comfortable to make that decision. And
Do
the
I need to
hope
make a
is that
motion?
We're all on one page to do so.
I make a motion?
Hold on 1 second. I have no.
Yes.
I just
Trustee
want to
Miller?
state for the record that tabling this has, for Trustee Miller, has nothing to do with questioning Dr. Leverett's evaluation. It's just the follow-up that the board was promised and reassured that we would have. The follow-up did not happen. So in good conscience, we have to stop doing this. And, you know, we come to this table, we're expecting a follow-up, and then it doesn't happen. And now we're looking at the agenda, and it's, you know, the follow-up was not a negligence on our part.
Okay. Did you want to make a motion, Trustee Dooley?
I would like to make a motion that we table the superintendent's evaluation results.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved by Trustee Dooley and second by Trustee Miller to table the approval of the superintendent's evaluation rating until
That's
the
my-
results
that's
will
my
be
question.
received. The results will be received. So we will need to reach out to Scott this week to see if he can have this information back as soon as possible, because the next
And-
meeting will be in July.
And so my next question would be, go ahead. You have questions, concerns, or comments?
Yes, questions, concerns.
Then my question would be, upon receiving the information, how long would it take for this board to digest, take a look at, review? Because if we want to get this thing done before the end of the month, then a special meeting has to be called where the results will be stated and voted upon. If there's a specific date and time, we need to have it done. Because apparently, based on the information that we discussed on the 18th, we may not meet again until the 2nd of July. Y'all forgot already? Go.
So the motion is on the floor that we table the approval of the superintendent's evaluation. We don't have a set date until we receive the results. So we will say at the upcoming meeting.
There's a possibility on the 2nd that we'll be meeting again.
So I thought we were gonna do a meeting, so but we had.
For this is.
budget, but we had to do the other stuff as well. So we have to, tonight,
So we, no, but we'll just leave it at this, Trustee Dooley. We will table this, the approval of her superintendent evaluation rating until
Our next scheduled
scheduled
meeting.
meeting, which will, and then that date is to be determined. We know it will be beyond June 30th, but it will be at a date to be determined.
Right.
Okay, so that is the motion on the floor. It's been moved by Trustee Dooley, supported by Trustee Miller, to table it until the next future meeting, the next upcoming meeting. Any other questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Gross,
Yes.
Trustee Hannah.
Yes.
President Hannah.
You missed
Did I?
Yeah, because she's before me.
No, but
Oh,
she's
I'm
after.
sorry. She sure was. Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
And President Hannah.
Yes.
That passes 6-0.
All right, thank you very much. Next finance item, 2025-2026 budget amendment number 2 presentation. Dr. Leverett.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Hannah. At this time, we'll turn it over to Catherine. This is the 2025-26 budget amendment number 2, second reading and adoption. None of this can happen.
So the proposed budget amendment was presented at the June 8th meeting in detail. I'll hit on the highlights. I wanted just to make a
I'm
statement.
sorry, Catherine. Let me just point of clarity for Dr. Leverett too. I know we had agreed that we would postpone the approval of the 2026-2027 budget. So as it relates to the amendment, do we still need to move forward, or can we do that? Can that be reviewed when we have the study session as it relates to the proposed budget?
I don't know what the law says. I think at a specific time, we have to vote on it.
I mean, so just to the point, because we didn't have our second budget amendment by the end of the year last year.
Yeah.
It was an audit finding.
Okay.
So I'll go through the highlights.
Yep.
Because the second budget amendment was not approved before year end or,
Okay.
timely. So we want to make sure that we do our best to make sure that we understand it and do it in compliance.
Okay.
But so I'll go through the items again, and then if everyone does not feel comfortable, then we'll probably have to set a meeting, prior to June 30th.
Okay.
So that's okay. It'll just take me a minute.
Point of order
I'm not.
to my trustees. Why are we discussing this, letting her go through when we already have to have a session? So I just need somebody to facilitate my thinking. The logic eludes me. It's going right over my head.
If I may.
Yes, please.
Now, is it customary or is it by law that the Second Amendment has to be approved prior to the approval of the actual budget?
Yes.
Now, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So, but it does not mean you can approve the Second Amendment and the budget on the same date,
As long as it's before.
long as it's before the approval of the actual budget.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm speaking of law. Yeah, the Second Amendment has to be approved prior to the approval of the actual budget.
Yes.
And it makes sense. And again, this is the amendment for the 25-26 budget.
Yes, this is for this fiscal
Yes.
year. And
Right.
there's
Okay.
key items that are known that I wanted just to go through
Okay.
again. We won't go through the whole
But
PowerPoint.
once you go through it, then the board still has the opportunity
Okay.
to ask questions that pertains to the amendment.
Yeah.
If they're not in agreement with the amendment, what is the rationale reasoning for us discussing it? We're actually going to discuss the actual budget. I'm just saying, does it make logical sense to actually hear or go over a Second Amendment when we actually tabled the budget?
No.
That's all I'm saying. So the board is not
We're
prepared
agreeing with
because
you.
the actual
We are
amendment has to be
agreeing.
voted on.
Yeah.
And Catherine, there's no disrespect to you and
Oh,
appreciate
no.
the work you're doing, but hear me on this. You can see that there's some unreadiness. So even if you went over it, that's not going to change the unreadiness because this board is not even ready to vote on the budget. I think Trustee Bowman has to have the opportunity to get a clear understanding on what he's looking at and what he's possibly going to vote on. He needs the time to do so. I do understand, that's why I asked the question, the timelines. So we need the opportunity for you to be able to take a look at it in order for you to even ask questions as pertains to the Second Amendment in the budget, because you have no knowledge of what we're talking about.
I think this needs to be tabled as well.
I mean, because it's going to be voted on. So why are we discussing it?
So
That's
okay.
all I'm saying.
Okay.
So
So
it's-
long as we just wanted to make sure we understand that this amendment was for the 25-26 budget.
And known change, like known
That's school
changes
year.
that have occurred, like with the teacher salary being ratified and retro. So what's in here
Yeah.
is known things. We're at June 22nd.
Okay.
So it's known items that have occurred
Okay.
that we
As
want to
to why
align
we
the
had to-
budget with to actual.
Okay.
Because we want to make sure when we come to the end of the year that our actual to budget, the variance isn't incredibly large.
Right.
Because that looks as though you weren't made aware of those changes and you have been.
Yeah.
But making sure that that budget's in place. But these are known changes that we need to amend and put in the budget
Okay.
of this fiscal year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but
Mhm.
board, what is your pleasure?
To table it.
Okay.
So can I get a motion, please?
Support.
It's been moved by Trustee Dooley, supported by Trustee Miller, to table the 2025-2026 budget amendment presentation. Questions, comments?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, if this is approved to be tabled, we know we're looking at a board study session, and as Trustee Dooley stated, we can have it within 48 hours because it has to be posted to be a public meeting. So my question is, as it pertains to the amendment, will this board have questions that they'll be able to ask pertaining to the amendment as well as to the actual budget to vote on during that study session? So it will allow us the opportunity to be able to vote on the amendment as well as the budget.
I would say yes, that we have to be able to ask whatever we need to ask for clarification.
And I respect that, and I thank you, Trustee Dooley, because here's what I'm saying. And again, we as board trustees have the right to vote yea or nay on anything that's presented to us. But as it pertains to this budget, it has a better look when we're all on the same page.
Absolutely.
And be able to vote on this thing. That means we're all in compliance. We understand the budget of this district and what needs to be done, what has to be done, and what has been done. And I think we all need to be on board, including our new board trustee. I think that's the most important. And I'm not trying to preach it here, but I'm saying it makes no sense to bring the amendment or the budget and it's a 3-2 or 2-3 no votes. It doesn't make any sense. This is important. And we need to do this in a timely fashion, very soon. So that's all I'm asking. Because we all need to be on the same page with the budget.
Okay.
Today is Monday. We should be able to meet by Wednesday.
Okay. So rest.
I
Yes.
have one more comment. I'm reading it here straight from the state of Michigan for budget amendments, and it says for the timing restrictions, amendments must be made before actual expenditures exceed the current appropriations. There is no authority to amend a budget after the fiscal year ends. I'm reading it straight from the state of Michigan.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions, trustees? Roll call, please.
Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Nope, I'm sorry. Yes, still Trustee Bowman. I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
That passes 6-0.
All right, thank you very much. Monthly finance, monthly report,
thank you.
please, Catherine.
And just if, so any questions that you already know that you have for the next session, you can email them to me ahead of time. And that gives me a little time too, just to bring it together for both those items, okay?
Now, I think we only have one employee, so those questions should be emailed to the superintendent, who will make contact with you.
Okay, that's fine, okay.
We don't email you.
Okay, all right, that's perfect. I just wanted to, I just wanted to make sure everyone had their concerns addressed, okay? All right. Okay, so now I'm gonna present the year-to-date results through May. So we're 11 months through the year. So if we go to the first slide, this is our general fund operations. And again, we have our current budget, which is after Amendment 1. So that does not include Amendment 2, obviously, because it was not approved yet. And then we have our year-to-date actual results. We're 91% through the year. So if we take a look at local revenue, we see that we're at 93% of our total budget. That's our property taxes that are captured by the district in the summer tax billings. And includes the non-homestead 18 mills and the other taxes as well. And the heavy flow of that is August, September, October. So that's where we're at there. The state funding, which is state aid formula, at risk, special education, GRSP, that's what's included in the state line. So we're at 20.6 million versus a budget of 28 million. So we're at 71% through 9 months of the year. Now, with that, that's expenditure driven, and we have 60 days within after year end in order to make sure those dollars that we have expended, because we have to match your revenue with your expenditures, we are put in for reimbursement. And then, so this we aligned a little bit at our, our June 30th, because they're in the process of putting additional expenditures in that have occurred. And then when we move to federal, so our federal funding is Title 1, 2, 3, 4, the 21st Century Grant and the EPA Clean School Bus Program for the second fleet. So as we can see, we're at 19.2 million of a budget, and we're at 16.8 million. So we're at 87%, and a large portion of that did have to do with the second fleet of buses, which we're at a cost of $15 million. And then again, the other items that are not in there at the current time are due to the fact that we haven't had qualifying expenditures yet for funding that we've received up front, or funding, or we haven't been reimbursed yet for that. But we are making sure that that is getting done timely. So we're at 87% at the current time. And as we move through June, we should move closer exactly to that 19.2. Other finances and modifications is ISD. That's the majority of it. Food service and other grants. And then it's due to, and then also in there was the TAN. So we had the TAN funding in the prior year. But so we're at 5.8 million in budget and 4.4 million year to date. So we're only at 68%. And again, in the prior year, we would have had issued the TAN up front at the end of the year. This year, we're not doing that. When we move to salaries and benefits, we can see that we're at 28.7 million and 17.3 million of benefits. That's 79% and 65% of budget for the two items. When we move through June, and what's in the budget amendment as well would be the amended contract with the educational staff, and that is going to be retroactive, so that will bring us up to that number as well as we adjust through that. And you'll see that when we go through the amended budget. Yeah. And then purchase services and supplies, you can see that we're at 14.2 for purchase services and 3.6 for supplies. So we're at 67% and 75%. Compared to last year, we would have been at 82% and 93% in this time frame, which really exemplifies that as a district, we're paying attention to those costs to save them if needed, to make sure we're retaining dollars, for teaching staff, students, and those type of things. Obviously buying the items we need, but we were able to come in under budget on that. Debt service. So in debt service, we are basically at 100%. So if we paid 100% of our debt, which we paid off the 4.5 TAN, and then we also have one debt outstanding, a 2018A that was paid in May. So that's why we're at 100%. Capital outlay, we have 6.7 million versus a budget of 5.9. That's at 113% of budget. Why that is because we had that bus fleet, which is offset by the revenue of about $5.3 million. So it's offset by that revenue I mentioned. And then we did have an additional $403,000 that was not covered by that grant that we received for that second fleet. And so that's in there as well. And that's in the budget amendment as well that you'll see. And then we have basically other, we're at 68% of our budget versus 65% last year. So we're still in that same range that we were last year. So overall, right now, year to date, we have a shortfall of $3.3 million. But we had a beginning fund balance of $23 million, which leaves us at the current time through May at, well, the budget is at 19.8 million. We're a little bit short of that at this time, only because of those items that I mentioned. So we will true up that in the June year-to-date financial statement. And again, you will see that in the budget amendment. So if we move to the next slide. This is just an explanation of all of the different revenue items and expenditures. So this is really nice to look at so that you get a handle on what's included in each of those line items. So then if we go to the next graph, this is our monthly cash flow, how it comes into our general operating fund, and what the revenue sources are derived from. So as you can see, we have local revenues, which again, I explained what's included in there, state revenues, federal state grants, PA-18, which is a special needs grant that's collected through Oakland County and then dispersed towards us. And then we have the TAN revenues. So as you can see, our largest collection of cash comes in September and October, because that's our property taxes that are coming in during that time. And as you can see in May, this is just 1 month of what came in. So this really shows you the flow of how the dollars come in cash flow, and how we have to monitor and retain dollars from those revenues that come in sooner, so that we spend appropriately through the end of the year and have that fund balance available to do that. I'm sorry. Okay, so if we move on to the next graph, what this graph shows us is our revenue and the sources again. So we can see that 51% of our revenue year to date comes from property taxes, 24% from state aid, 20% from grants, and 5% from PA-18. So that's the majority of our funding and how it comes in, and what the main sources are. So that's a nice graph to look at to see that in a pie chart. And then when we move to the next graph, this is our general fund expenditures. So what this is nice to see is it breaks it down on how we're spending our dollars year to date. So if you look at the graph, I won't go through every percentage because you can see it there, but you can see instruction, pupil services, improvement of instruction, We have general admin, office and principal, fiscal services, maintenance, security, transportation, other development, athletics, debt service, and we have fund modifications, and then community service and transfers, which are basically transfers to our insurance fund. So if you take a look at that whole graph together and you remove the administration that we've talked about, or the office of principal, which comes to about 9%, you will see that at least 85%, if not a little more, is fully spent to support our student base. So I think this is an important graph to look at so that you get a feel that we're ensuring from a fiduciary responsibility that the dollars are being allocated in the right places. And then this is our rolling cash flow. So I don't know what is wrong with so what this shows you is where we're at. We'll just look at May there, and we're at 33.6 million. So when we were talking about fund balance a little bit at the projection of 16 million, what the fund balance is the unrestricted dollars that are available for, everyday operations. What we have right here, we have $33 million right here on hand. Why that is again, we do get grant funding up front, such as the bus grant that's paying for the EV hubs. We can't release those dollars until we have qualifying expenditures. So that is why you see the difference between the two, because we have to match up those restricted dollars with the qualifying expenditures, even though we have the cash at the time. But the fund balance that I mentioned is unrestricted dollars. I won't go into detail because the other dollars are in deferred revenue and liabilities on the balance sheet. Okay. And the next graph, this is just a roll through the whole year so you can see how the cash fluctuates month by month. And then the next graph, this is our historic flow chart that we've gone over without the TAN. So we look at this to see, okay, if we did not have the TAN, where would we be at with our cash flow? So if we look back, in July there, we see that, well, you see the graphs that are 2021, 21, 22, 23, and you look at the beginning of the year and you see that we would have been in a large cash deficit. And that's why we had to have the TANs issued up front so that we could suffice that. And then as we went through the years, you can see each month we're able to sustain positive cash flow without the TANs being issued. But this is a nice picture to show you the growth that we've done and why we're able not to issue the TANs any longer. So then when we look at the next graph, we see it with the TAN. So this is with the TAN. So you can see, if we looked at that previous graph, we saw that 21, 22, many months would have been in a deficit. With the TAN, we were able to have positive cash flow. If you look at 25, 26 bar graph, what you'll see is right now, that's the exact same as if we didn't have the TAN. And so that's why we're able to move forward without it. This next graph really just shows we wanted to be transparent in all of our cash and investment balances. So this is the general fund cash balance, which I mentioned, 33.6 million. I won't go through line by line item of all of the others, but what I've done is broken it down by each fund. So our debt fund, our bond debt fund, our capital projects fund, our sinking fund, our food service fund. So you can look at that. That comes to an additional $24.4 million and see exactly where those dollars are housed. All right. All right. And then this is our debt fund. So again, we do receive property tax dollars. We had a budget of 7.4. Yes. No, the first two lines are the general fund. Yes.
What's in the general?
It's at 36. It's 36.
33.6
Yes, 33 point. Yes. Mm-hmm.
in the general
Mm-hmm.
24 million of that is from all the other ones. That's listed below.
Yes.
24 million of the 33?
No, that's an addition.
Those additions from.
Yeah, so when you
Right
add
now,
it together,
there's $33 million in the general fund.
yes.
Right now.
Yes, right now there is. But again, it's restricted because we can't spend a lot of it. Yeah.
Restricted and unrestricted.
Yeah.
Right now,
Mm-hmm.
there's $33 million in the general fund.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. And like I said, okay. And the other ones are the other fund balances that come. So you have to add the two together to get your total cash and investments that you have at the district. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then when we get to debt fund, this is our debt fund again. So we have 7.4 million of property taxes budgeted. We're at 7.2 million and we've earned interest of 42,000. So we're currently, at about 98% of our budget to date, which means we're bringing in those property taxes timely that were levied and were collected. We also have the expenditures, which is our bond principal payments and our bond interest payments. So that in total is at 7.3 million versus 7.39. So basically we're at 99% of our budget in total. And that's because the majority of our debt payments are made in May each year. We'll have a little interest in June, but we've made all of our principal payments through May. Okay. And then if we go to the next, this is our debt fund and the rolling cash again. So we look at just May and we have $1.4 million. And again, that's sufficient at this time for what we have to pay going forward. And then this is our sinking fund again. And our sinking fund, as you can see, we have property taxes at the current budget of 2.9. We have year to date at 2.8, and then we have interest 200,000, but we're at 323,000. So our interest rates are yielding better than expected, is what that's coming to. So again, we're at 100% basically of our budget at this time, and again, it's because we really have gotten to the point of tax settlements as well. If we go to expenditures, we have administration, which we have a budget, but we do not have any costs allocated to there at the moment. We have miscellaneous projects that were a current budget of 7.9, and we've only had 69,996 to date. And again, the difference there, which you will see in the budget amendment, is that $3.3 million that was originally budgeted in sinking fund for the EV hub, we were able to get that grant. So we don't have to spend those dollars. And then some of the other items that were budgeted in there just were delayed in when they're being spent. So that's why we are where we're at in May. And so far under the current budget in place. All right. And then the next graph is our May actual balance in the sinking fund. So as expected, we haven't spent, all of the dollars. So we have a healthy fund balance in there of $5.25 million. And again, any dollars that are remaining in there because of this shift are able to be spent on the allowable costs in the sinking fund. Okay. So now let's move to the bond. This is our series, our bond debt fund. So again, the bond debt that is being used currently was the bond debt issuance 3. That was about the $18.4 million that was issued. So you'll see that here. So we have $215,000 of interest. We're right on target there. Budget of other financing sources, which is basically our tax levy at the $18.3 million that came in. Our building improvements are a budget of $10.6 million, and we're currently at $3.1 million. Now, again, Rogers is slated to be paid out of this. But again, that looks like it's going to be moved, more towards July and August timeframe. And what's really still included in there is we finished up the high school, the middle school, and one other school we finished up as well in this year. So that's what the current costs are in there. And then we have our technology, furniture and equipment. That was just because it was a shift of going to another fund. And then professional fees, we have to pay when we issue debt for the lawyers and those type of things. So those were professional fees that were paid related to bond debt series. So in total, expenditures were at $4.1 million with a current budget of 10.8. So that would look like we were at only 38% at 91% of the year. But again, it's because of those budget shifts that will occur because we know now the timing of projects better. So, yes.
Will the Rogers refurbishing Rogers, will that exhaust all the bond monies that we have completely? I'm saying because I mean there's no more bond series. We're done. This is the last series, correct?
Correct.
And Rogers will take it down, but we will still, because I recall some time ago we talked about we were able to save about $1 million from some other projects, the Harrington project, which is also included in this bond budget, right? So my question is, can we utilize whatever's remaining upon completion of Rogers? Are we able to utilize any of that monies for other projects in the district if needed? No, I'm saying instead of giving it back.
No. We're bringing it back.
That's what I'm saying. The money is there, and although the projects will be complete, there's still some other things that we can utilize for the purpose of the bond itself. We just can't use it to pay salaries or something. It's all about rebuilding, refurbishing, and renewing. But if there's monies left and there may be some smaller projects that need to be done, we can utilize the remaining amount of the bond. We can, as long as we vote on it. That is presented to us to be voted upon.
Yes.
Indicative of numbers. So you said it goes low. You have a number figure of it goes down to that.
Actually, it'll be higher with the new we had because of that that pre-purchase of that equipment that was split between two that was at the 3 million. So originally we thought the project would be 15 million. It's coming in right now at about 12.9. But we have other improvements too, right? With the movement of the kids out of the closed elementary schools, right? Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So I mean, so we can give you a better figure, but I think it may be a little bit higher at this point, based on what I have for the cost of right now. And I have the detail. Cody emailed it to me this morning with the contingencies in there. So with that coming in about 13 million, again, but so we might be, closer to $1 million potentially. Yeah.
I think this is in order. I want to go through the chair to the superintendent to direct Catherine for all intentional purposes. The budget needs to be font size. I've asked this on several occasions to increase that font size. So if I was at home and viewing the screen, I would be able to see it. And so I'm just asking that the superintendent direct Catherine to moving forward for all presentations, especially those with numbers, it needs to be a much larger font so those at home and even me can follow it without straining. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I did increase it from the last time you asked. So I think it's a little bigger when you look at the packet, but we can make it larger as well. All right. Okay. So then moving on. So basically right now we have $16.8 million in the bond series fund. And again, I have those revised numbers for Rogers, and then they have, and Marvin knows better, we have additional projects with the movement of the kids that improvements are being made at the high school and at Elcott. All right. So if we move forward, we get to the foods. This is again the whole rolling year, so I won't go through each month for the bond series, but then we get to the food service. This is budget to actual. And again, so in total, I'll just go to the total. We have total revenues of a current budget of $4 million. We're currently only at $2.9 million. Where we're short right now is the federal NSL amount. And again, we had discussed this at the June 8th meeting, that some of that federal money was delayed, but it's also based on student count that are using it. So again, we just have to make sure that that's trued up and timely in there to get that number, you know, up to an accurate place with the final counts that were you know, fed breakfast and lunch and those type of things. So when we get to the salaries, benefits, purchase services and supplies, we can see that in total, we have a 3.9 budget and we're only at 3.2. So we are significantly less than our budgeted cost to date as well. And right now that would appear to be in a little bit of a deficit, but I think when we true that up with June, hoping to be break even, because that's what the fund is there to do.
Trustee Miller.
And I guess this will be more of a question for the superintendent. We're making improvements on Alcott. The Alcott is slated to, in the transitional phase, to be closed. So wouldn't it behoove us to not continue to invest any money in Alcott if that building is in fact slated to be closed?
I might have misspoke, so ask Marvin. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, okay, it's just repairs. Okay. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, Marvin
But
knows the
if
detail.
one of the things
I know the
that's-
numbers.
One of the things, Trustee Miller, that's imperative, we have to still have money allocated for, say something happens this winter and the boiler goes. So for maintenance like that, that could be costly to the district. Unfortunately, if something like that were to happen, is one example.
And I appreciate the clarity. What I heard is her saying of the project, and I'm, wait a minute, what project are we? But I appreciate the clarity. Thank you.
Yeah.
Trustee Bowman.
So superintendent, basically the money spent there is for preventative maintenance and just overall just maintenance of the building operations, but not day-to-day operations or anything or extra spending, just preventative maintenance and upkeep. for the
Correct,
most
Trustee
part.
Bowman. That
Okay.
is correct.
Yes. So sorry. Thank you for being here, Marvin. Okay. So if we move forward, then really that's the end of the presentation. So other information, so emergency purchases, a lot of times Marvin's group has to make emergency purchases that are material. And to date, we don't have any material emergency purchases that would take a material amount of our funds away. Budget Amendment 2 was presented on June 8th and submitted for approval June 22nd. Obviously, we've tabled that and included the impact of union contracts negotiations, but we'll go through that at the next meeting. And then the proposed 26-27 budget, again, we had it at the June 8th meeting, and the retreat, we submitted it for approval, but we've tabled that. So we'll bring that to the next meeting as well. So if there's
Thank
any
you.
questions.
I have a question regarding emergency purchases. With the emergency purchases, how much money has been allocated or he's authorized under emergency purchases? Because I would assume if it's an emergency purchase, you don't have time to go through all the channels that you would do to get something approved. So my question is, what is his line budget, how before he has to come to the superintendent or the procedure?
Yeah, so in the sinking fund, when we looked at how much larger the budget is than actual to date.
All I want to know is what, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but all I want to know is
gonna-
what is the actual amount or a proposed amount that he has legal jurisdiction over to make a purchase without having to consult for additional approval. So for instance, I can't remember what it's called right now for the superintendent. I think she can spend 25,000 without, threshold. So what is it? So you can spend $31,000 without getting any approval. So my question is, as an emergency purchase, how much can you spend without going through any channels? Just like a credit card, if what's your spending limit? That would be it. What is your spending limit? So you don't have a budget? I mean, so you can spend up to 31,000 prior to needing. No, but I guess in the perimeter of an emergency purchase, my question is, without needing to contact her or anybody under your mandate of power for spending, what is your limit?
Right. And if there was an emergency purchase, like a boiler went or something of any, yeah, and then that always has to go through the approval process before.
Right.
purchase is
So
made.
again, my question is, it either is a budget item, there's a ceiling for spending, or there is not a threshold. The question is, how much can any of those persons that manned his job make on emergency purchase without any further anything?
Well, anything that's an emergency purchase that we need would go through approval process. That's just the way it goes.
Okay,
because
so-
it's an unexpected cost, no matter what the cost is. So we make sure to follow the procedures. Yeah.
Trustee Bowman.
So I guess that for a point of clarity for what Trustee Dooley was really trying to say, because I understand. What is like the monthly cap? So for example, if you have a salary cap of 20,000 or 30,000 a month, like you mentioned, what is your expenditure number or your surplus number to where if you go over $10,000, then you got to call somebody, or if you go over $5,000, then you got to call somebody? What is that number? Or you can't sit up here and tell me there's no number, because that doesn't make sense in business. So what is the number where if you had to buy a generator and the generator was $10,000, where does that number cap off before you have to go to somebody over you to say, hey, I got to buy something that costs over X amount of dollars? I think that's okay. Okay, there we go. We getting somewhere now.
Mhm.
There we go.
Trustee Miller.
Just for clarity, I believe it was last year, the board was presented authorizations for P cards, and if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it his P card like 100,000? It was no. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Yeah. So is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
'cause
my P card not that high.
the P card is for emergencies, how it was explained to us.
Yeah, emergencies or
Yeah,
purchases,
yeah.
or everyday
what's the value
purchases
of-
or
yeah.
equipment you buy, things like that on a daily basis. Yeah, but yeah, mine's not that much.
So how much is your P card?
I believe around it goes up some time, but mine's about around $30,000 a month. Yeah, but then again, you got to go over that P card. You got to get approval for that. You
Right,
can't just buy
I was
over
just-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So $30,000. You have
yeah,
the
then
ability to spend $30,000 for
yeah, on your P
expenditures.
card, yeah. But
Okay.
and it's a heavy process with that, so you have to fill out.
Okay, I just want to
They
know
know
where you were.
mankind, but yeah.
And if there and in the past, if there's any emergency such as, if we've done that at the table, if there's emergency such as a boiler has to be replaced and it costs like 35,000, 60,000, it's presented to the board for its approval because the amount, whenever there's emergency over a certain amount. Yes, that's been the history. That's been
Well,
the
yeah,
past.
and just remember, like I say, things happen here
Absolutely.
2:00 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning. You know,
Right.
and
And then exactly.
yeah,
So
you got to have school tomorrow, so you go close the whole building. You're in the middle of winter with
Right.
0 below temperature, whatever. You lose that whole school if you don't
That's
take
correct.
actions right then and there. So
that's correct. So
Well, that's fine. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions for Catherine? All right, thank you, Catherine.
Okay, thank you.
Property and casualty. Okay.
I do.
Okay.
When we decide the date that we're going to have this board study session, we should be available.
It needs to be soon, ASAP, like within the next 2 days.
So I'm asking.
Catherine,
Well,
what's your
I think
availability?
you're gonna have to, pick a date and
That's why I asked.
Let's do Wednesday, because you got to announce it.
Will it be posted in time enough to do Wednesday?
You need 18 hours. If they post it tonight,
It's
the
18.
first thing in the morning.
All I'm asking is, listen, I don't want us to get to where it said we didn't have enough time, but we can't do this and this because I need her because she wasn't available on the 18th.
But-
We understood that. We're not faulting you.
I
You
would
don't have to
like.
apologize. No, I'm just want to
Oh,
make
you're
sure.
fine, Catherine. But I would like to suggest that we meet during the day, a few hours earlier than, so if we need long time, we're not going into the lateness because it's 9 o'clock now. So I would like to say, let's start by noon or 1 o'clock on Wednesday.
I think that's a board decision if based on the whoever can attend.
Well, also that allows Catherine X amount of hours to be already at work
No,
without
I
having to
agree with
overextend
you,
her.
But I think that's determined based on the availability of the board.
So again, I'm just suggesting.
Okay. Yeah.
Cynthia, we'll get with Cynthia so she can confirm and set the dates and then send it out to the board.
So tentatively, we're looking at Wednesday this week, right? Today is the 22nd. That would be the 24th. The 24th, Wednesday, the 24th, and we need to do a time.
All right. Property and casualty, Dr. Leverett? Insurance?
Yes, Catherine.
Up again.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah. At this time, we'll have for discussion action renewal, the property and casualty insurance renewal. Said, Catherine. If you would read the bear in its entirety.
Yeah, I can.
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is the approval of the property and casualty insurance renewal. So renewal of property casualty insurance for 26-27. So SETSAG currently serves 525 public schools. The school district of the city of Pontiac has been a member for the past 9 years. Total property insured, $308 million. Total contents and property in open insured is about 36 million. And insurance includes commercial property, cyber liability, terrorism, equipment breakdown, crime, liability coverage, auto, including new electric buses, builder's risk for construction. Deductible for the insurance policy is $100K for property, $2,500 for crime, $0 for general liability, inland marine, and $5,000 for vehicles. The total premium renewal in the contract is $745,000. This also includes the cost to cover the electric buses, as well as added values to buildings related to new construction. After accounting for the projected member net assets, we get a return of $44,535. The general fund impact is a net cost of $700,928.
Can you read the recommendation?
Yep. It is recommended of this administration to approve the fiscal year 26-27 SETSAG insurance renewal as presented.
Thank you, trustees. Questions?
How many other not recommendations, how many other quotes did we get from other insurance agencies? Or is this the only one quote that we have for comparison? Did we get any other bids. I don't know if that's the right number or naming, but you understand.
Yeah.
Did we get any other companies to compare what coverage could be opposed to just this one price you're giving us? Did we do our due diligence?
This is a renewal contract. So just so you know, last year, the budget for the policy was $810,000. So this is a decrease in the policy dollar amount. We spent actually $1.2 million. So they actually, if you look at it, their costs, and you look at the detailed budget, they've actually come down in their costs for us.
So we save money, which is great,
Mhm.
always when we save money. But my question was, did we have other submitted bids?
I don't think we went out for bid process that we were seeking new insurance policy individuals.
Right.
This policy is effective July 1st.
So are we able to be insured by other companies?
We'd have to go out to bid, get 3 bids, and then you can look through the contracts and see which one you'd want to go with.
So we just automatically went with the company we had.
Right, and looked
previously.
through the contract and had discussions with them. And Jim was involved too, and in order to make sure that it was fair, and with everything that with the history and with the insurance we have. So yeah, but if we did, we'd have to go out to bid and get 3 contracts if someone were to do that. But this expires June 30th this year.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Trustee Miller and then Trustee Bowman.
Catherine, prior to your arrival, this board was told that we have increased, what the previous attorney said, that our risk has decreased and our rating has increased, so we could qualify for cheaper insurance and better insurance that covers more. Because to the way it was explained to this board, that SEG was like you have to have some level of insurance. So this is like the minimum. But being that it was declared that our insurability has increased, so it would, I was expecting to see at least, another vendor for insurance, because we were told as a board that we qualify for better rates.
Trustee Bowman.
How long have we been using this insurance vendor?
9 years.
9 years. Mm-hmm.
That's all.
9 years.
Okay. Any other questions, trustees? Nope, that's it. Okay, moving down the agenda.
So are we? Okay. So do we have to?
We
go
don't
through
have
the
any other
approval?
questions regarding it, so it's on the agenda for action item. That's fine. Thank you, Catherine. Board, can I get a motion for the approval of the property and casualty insurance renewal?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by Trustee Gross and supported by Trustee Bowman for the approval of the property and casualty insurance renewal. Any questions?
Yes, I'll make it real quick.
Yes.
It's concerning to me that an entire year has gone by and we haven't invested any time, safe to assume, to look into other carriers that can provide us better service at a better rate. Again, this is being presented because it expires on the 30th.
Thank you. I was
So
about to say that.
well, go. I'm a go ahead. You
No,
said better
I-
than me.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off, dear. and I
No, I'm
apologize
letting
for
you
that.
say it because you say it way better than me. So I'm done. You
No,
go ahead.
I totally agree, because we're always ending up in deadlines. And to delay will cause havoc. So I'm asking, from this point forward, when we're not even nearing renewal, we get to a time where we know we're contractually renewing any contract that is presented to this board, that is for us to decide whether or not we need to seek other alternatives, different companies, if this was put out to bid, because now we're at the deadline. So we don't have a choice. And I understand, but I try to look at this as we're using Mimic They give us a better deal, but we continue to go with them until we decide that the other companies are doing, I'm just independently with my insurance. But I think that we utilize certain things so much because we've been using them for years. You asked the question, how long have we been using it? 9 years. Could there be someone out there that better? Yes. But do we have the opportunity to investigate that now? When you put out 3 bids, it's going to take a little while for us to get back any type of. So I reiterate, we got to do things differently and better because we're at the end of it now. So.
Exactly. This leaves us no choice but to go with this contract because we cannot leave ourselves uncovered and be vulnerable for no coverage. So just moving forward, the board, I think it'll be incumbent upon us to ask the questions. Where are these contracts? I think we have to ask the superintendent, where is this information? It should, because when we know it's coming, and if it hasn't been presented in a time that affords us to do our due diligence and looking and seeking, we need to make sure that we bring it to the table and ask those pertinent questions to our one employee.
Okay. Any?
I'm good.
You good? All right. Any other questions?
I'm good.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
That passes 6-0.
All right. Thank you very much. Under General Counsel, Human Resource Items, Dr. Leverett.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah. At this time, I will turn it over to Ashley. This is the professional services contract renewal for pediatric health consultants.
Good evening. I will go read the bear. The purpose for this contract is to provide occupational therapy services to students with disabilities as specified by their individual education plan. Federal and state regulations require that OT services be provided to students as stipulated in their IEPs. This contract will ensure the continuation of services for students who qualify from July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. This contract does have a price increase for hourly employees being employed by this company for the 26-27 school year. For pediatric, we'll be using them for occupational therapist services. The 25-26 hourly rate was $68, and the 26-27 hourly rate will be $70 with a $2 increase. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education discuss and approve the professional services contract agreement with Pediatric Health and the Pontiac School District, effective July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. Expensed amount for the 26-27 school year is $100,000.
All right. Thank you. Trustees, questions?
Again, my concern is putting these contracts out to be competitively bidded. Could we possibly have received better services? I'm not sure, but we'll never know if we're not properly vetting for these services to be provided.
Trustee Miller?
For the funding source, it says this is a reimbursement expense from Section 24. Is that special ed? What section?
Yes,
Special ed. Okay,
special
want
ed.
to make sure. Okay, thank
So
you.
I think they can reimburse the following school year.
Okay.
And
you.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Trustee Gross.
And we've utilized these type of services in the past, correct?
Correct.
And this is to keep us
Compliant. And compliant.
Thank you. That's the word
Correct.
I was trying to search for the last 5 minutes.
And
Because
we-
I recall these services before.
Yes.
Because of the lack of staff. And what
Correct.
we have, and this helps us to stay in compliance.
Yes.
And
And
we've done this before.
Correct. And we can continue to look at other companies.
Yes.
If they have better prices, we can bring them to you for approval. It's not to say that we have to spend $100,000 with pediatric health, but it is a placeholder so that if
That's correct.
in
I
the
remember- I recall
now
that
if we can't hire for the upcoming school year, we at least have this placeholder.
That's
and then when we do hire, an internal staff member, then this contract, we would just put it on hold and continue to use the internal person.
And that was the discussion we had before. we did
Yes.
approve.
So
Yes.
all of the
I
contracts
remember.
are just placeholders. And when we hire internal, we'll be able to end the contract with them.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right. Can I get a motion for the approval of the pediatric health contract renewal?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by trustee Gross, supported by trustee Miller for the approval of the pediatric health contract renewal. Any questions? Roll call.
Trustee Dooley,
Yes.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
and Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
That passes 6-0.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Leverett.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah. Trustees, this is for discussion and action. This is new for the professional services contract for Radical Resolve Educational and Family Consulting, excuse me.
So this is another contract for ancillary services. I'll read the bear. The purpose of this contract is to provide school psychologist services for students whose parents have requested their child be evaluated for special education eligibility. Federal and state regulations require school psychologists evaluations be completed within the specified time frame or timeline of a parent's written request and stipulated in the student's review of existing evaluation data. This contract will ensure the continuation of services for students who qualify from July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. Their rate for school psychologists is $127 an hour, and for bilingual school psychologists, it's $143 an hour. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education discuss and approve the professional services contract agreement with Radical Resolve Educational and Family Consulting in the Pontiac School District, effective July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. Expensed amount for the 2026-2027 school year is $400,000.
All right, trustees, questions?
Ashley, is that for one person or a group of people?
I believe this is up to 3 people. They'll be providing in-person services. We've had some issues with getting in-person services with some of the other contract companies. They've been trying to do virtual, and it's been a concern of our principals and our staff. So I think it's up to 3 staff members that they will provide in person services. Sorry.
So basically, they'll each make 100 plus?
Potentially, yes.
Okay, any other questions, trustees?
That also includes IEPs.
Yes, they would complete the read and assist with those.
With IEPs.
Yes,
Right,
to ensure
because
we're in
you-
compliance.
Right, because you set a specific timeline, because if someone requests an IEP, it has to be done within 30 days.
Correct.
Are they also able to assist with Medicaid billing?
So I'm not sure that psychologists can do Medicaid billing. I think the OT, PT, and those others, but I do not believe psychologists can do it. And that's why it's not reimbursed expense for Section 24. Mhm.
Okay. All right, no questions. Secretary David Smith. I'm sorry. Can I get a motion for the approval of the Radical Resolve Education and Family Consulting LLC?
So moved. Support.
It's been moved by trustee Dooley, supported by trustee Gross for the approval of Radical Resolve Educational and Family Consulting LLC. Any questions? Yes.
One comment.
Trustee Gross.
And this is to Dr. Leverett. And I've talked with you about this before, that we need to take a look at possibly, if we could, bring on staff, possible psychologists or psychiatrists to be able to do this, because this is going to be ongoing every year.
Oh, absolutely.
That we need. And one of the things that we talked about, because Oakland County has their own psychological clinic where they have psychologists there to help out, but that's for the county. Mine is we can also look at possibly partnering up with medical facilities, with students, interns that actually can do something that I talked about years ago, that we can even look at partnering with U of M Medical, Michigan State Medical, where we can bring in students that can be supervised to be able to complete evaluations, maybe at a cheaper rate. But I'm saying in the future, that's something we need to investigate, because this is going to be ongoing due to the students that we have in this type of students we have in this district.
Correct.
That we're going to always need a psychiatrist, psychologist
Absolutely.
to get these evaluations completed.
Yes.
So that's something to investigate, that we can actually have 2 or 3 psychologists on staff that we may be partnering with someone. Just a thought.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dooley,
Yes.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
President Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
And I'm voting yes. That passes 6-0.
All right. Thank you very much. Dr. Leverett next.
I think it's me again.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah. Trustees, this is the professional services contract renewal for Stepping Stones Group. Discussion action renewal. Ashley.
Thank you. I'll go into the beer. The purpose of this contract is to provide speech and language pathologists and occupational therapist services to students with disabilities as specified by their individualized education plan. Federal and state regulations require that these services be provided to students as stipulated in their IEPs. This contract will ensure the continuation of services for students who qualify from July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. There is no rate increase for Stepping Stones. The current hourly rate for speech and language pathologists is $90, and the current rate for their occupational therapist is $85. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education discuss and approve the professional services contract agreement with Stepping Stones Group in the Pontiac School District, effective July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. The expensed amount for the 26-27 school year is $325,000.
Okay. Thank you. Trustees, any questions?
Ashley, my question would be, have we tried to consolidate these services so we can get a better rate? Because I'm hearing 400,000 on this one, 300 on. We're so close to that million. It's no company provides all of the services, so we would get a better rate.
So honestly, for majority of our ancillary staff, we use BlazerWorks. But they cannot always provide everything we need. So it's just, again, a placeholder so that in the event that they are unable to, and their contract will be coming shortly, it's being reviewed by legal. But BlazerWorks typically provide probably 80%, 85% of our ancillary staffing needs. But at this moment, they were unable to provide like in-person psychologists. So we needed to explore other options as it relates to that. But if they are able to provide with some of the needs that we have, then we could look at making sure that we use them for more.
Now, will we save money if by chance we can find those persons holding those positions to work for Pontiac opposed to being contracted employees?
So it depends when you look at that, because not only are you paying for a salary with the district, you're also paying for benefits and insurance. So honestly, sometimes you are better off, and it's not my goal to use contracted services, but sometimes you are better off financially using contracted services. But again, our goal is to have someone in the district hired internally so that they could be here for longevity for our staff and students.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Can I get a motion on the floor for the approval of the professional services contract renewal for Stepping Stones Group?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by Trustee Bowman, supported by Trustee Gross for the approval of professional services contract renewal for Stepping Stones Group. Any questions? Roll call.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
That passes 6-0.
All right. Thank you very much, trustees. And the last one as item under this area. Again, as we stated, it had come to the attention of the board that the June 8th motion regarding the appointment of Dr. Sarita Stevens as Executive Director of Human Resources did not receive the number of affirmative votes required for approval. 4 votes are needed. So trustees, we are bringing this item back to a vote. Can I get a motion? Any questions before I move forward? Can I get a motion for the approval of the Executive Director of HR for Dr. Sarita Stevens?
So moved.
It's been moved by Trustee Miller and supported by Trustee Dooley for the approval of the Executive Director of HR, Dr. Sarita Stevens. Questions? Roll call, please.
President Hannah,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
No.
Trustee
Trustee who?
Bowman,
Abstain.
I'm voting no. Trustee Dooley,
No.
Trustee Gross.
No.
That failed.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving down to curriculum and instruction, Dr. Leverett.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah. Trustees, at this time, I will turn it over to Jennifer Dean, our Data and Assessment Coordinator, for our report, the end of the year NWEA and iReady results. Jennifer, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. So actually, I've not 100% today, so bear with me. But we are going to start with iReady. So that is the K-8 assessment that is used for both reading and math. Remember, iReady is criterion reference, so it gives a student an actual placement of where they are. Looking at this reading proficiency trend slide, so I just kind of did a 3-year summary slide from spring 2024 through spring 2026. We did see a 2% increase in the percent of students at or above their grade level for the 2026 school year. Next slide, please. Okay, so this one, this is giving us by building. Something that I want to point out here, I always talk about if they're in tier 2 in the yellow, they're 1 grade level below. At the beginning of the year, we expect them to be that 1 grade level below. But at the end of the year, we expect all of those people that were in tier 2 to move to tier 1. So not to pick on any particular schools, this one, the math was kind of easier. If we look at ITA, at the beginning of the year, they had 13% in green and 37% in yellow. So that's 50% that we should be all seeing in green now, and they're at 36%. And if you do the math on all of those, Alcott, they had 6% plus 36%, so that 42, but they have 22% at grade level. It should be that those kids that were, and I did this analysis based on students that were with us for a full year. So we should be seeing more movement there. Looking at the district, next slide, please. Looking at district by grade level. Again, we always see that kindergarten number is very high, and we don't have the red for the kindergarten because they're just starting, right? So as we get into that 2nd and 3rd grade, we start seeing more of that red start building up again. And that same logic that I put to the school level applies here. If they were green or yellow at the beginning of the year, they should be green now.
Yeah.
So those numbers should be a lot more. Next slide, please. Looking at district math proficiency trends. So from spring of 2024 to 25, we saw a 1% increase, and 25 to 26, we saw a 4% increase. Looking at the math K through 8, same trends. We are seeing more of the students moving into the green, but not as many as we should see. And next slide, looking at by school, the math proficiency. Yeah, by school, the math proficiency. I did want to point out, nope.
Rogers.
Good. Okay, next slide, please. Now we're switching over to NWA. That's grades 9 through 12, and that's the one that is norm reference. So the students are given a performance level based on being measured against their peers, same age, same grade, taking the same tests across the nation. So we don't necessarily say that they're at or above grade level. When we look at this, we look at, are they performing along with the norm of their peers? We have seen quite a big increase over the 3 years. Spring of 2024, we were at 33%, and now in spring of 2026, we're at 56%. On the next slide, I do want to point something out.
Oh, wow.
So look at 12th grade.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I went through and I pulled out, so the kids are figuring out how to use AI, but in INWA, they're in a lockdown browser. So unless they're getting by with a phone that the teacher doesn't see, which they're supposed to collect all their phones, but again, the kids bring 2 phones to school, one that's broken and one that's not, and they turn in the broken one.
What?
Yeah. But I did go through and I ran, I looked at all the students with a higher standard error, meaning something's off on this, higher than typical standard error. I excluded those students, and I still came out with, back on the other slide, the spring 56%, it was 55.6%. So even excluding those students that were the outliers, we still have that 55.6%. And, if I excluded 12th grade, then it was more like 40-some%, but I excluded the outliers, the ones that I thought, and the testing coordinators are really good about coming to me and saying, hey, I think we need to retest this one. I didn't have any of that coming from Pontiac High School this time. So one thing that we know is different, they did an IXL pilot this year. They only did it for like 1 month before testing, but IXL is a program that students can either kind of like iReady, where they take a diagnostic, they get a learning path based on where they are at academically. IXL, they didn't have to take the diagnostic because we can feed their previous SAT and PSAT data into IXL, and then it assigns them basically a learning path.
Okay. So I see an improvement in every grade except juniors. Because if you look for 9th, from 27 to 39%,
And this is
that's a 12% increase.
Trend that we always see with the juniors in the spring because they are tested. They take WIDA, if they're ESL, they take that February through March. All 11th graders have to take, it's no longer ACT, it's now,
PSAT.
no, the ACT work skills test, they switched this year, Win Readiness Assessment. So they have to take Win Readiness, SAT, both ELA and math for SAT. The Win Readiness is a reading section, a writing section, a math section, and the SAT, PSAT, ELA and math. What did I miss? And then M-STEP, they have to take social studies and science.
So Ms. Dean,
They do this after all that other stuff.
Right. So the fall test is testing them what they don't know yet.
Not for NWA. For NWA, because it's norm referenced, it is picking up.
Where they all are.
I'm talking about the fall, because there's 2 tests, right?
There's 2 tests. iReady.
No, I'm saying there's 2 times that you test them within the, so in the fall, and then you retest them.
Fall, winter, and spring.
Fall, winter, and spring.
Mm-hmm.
The winter and spring is being tested on things that they do know.
For NWA,
okay,
it's not like for iReady, a 3rd grader goes into the school year as a 3rd grader having any 3rd grade content, but iReady is testing them on 3rd grade content. NWA is testing them. It starts at whatever their grade level should be, but then it adjusts down.
Okay.
So if they're answering the questions correctly, they might be getting content that they should know, and more beyond that they might not know, but then it will start leveling down.
Because I asked, because we're seeing some improvements.
Mhm.
It's not where we want it to be.
No, it's
right?
not, but
you're
it's
talking about a 12% increase in freshmen
mhm.
in
Yeah.
their pre and post, and then 8% in 10th grade.
Yeah.
And 217% in seniors. That's a heck of a jump from 58 to 85.
Well, give it to them. Let them. Hey,
give it
they
to
would. They
You know,
hey, they worked. They studied hard.
But
again, I went through, I excluded those outliers.
I love it.
I'm just being transparent that we know what the kids can do, but yeah. So the other thing that I would want to look at is from the students that were using the IXL, how much time they spent in IXL versus what their growth was on NWA to see. Like that's a speculation. We used that for a month before all this testing started.
You know what I'm waiting to see? Those juniors, how they're prepared next year, how they will be next year compared from this year, because they percentage that they lost what 3%, but see where they are in the
When they
beginning,
come back in
when they
the
come back in
fall
the
as
fall.
12th graders.
That'll be a good
Yeah. Because
measurement.
testing fatigue is a real thing, and it's not just our district; it's across the state for
Oh,
all
it's
11th
across the nation.
graders. Yes, and it's
Thank you.
okay.
I'd like to make a comment going back to the other testing. You made a comment that was disturbing to me, that you expect the kindergartners to come in below grade level, yet many of them are enrolled, I think it's in the GSRP program. Do you utilize that data, or what kind of collection are they doing to assess learning?
We have looked back at just GSRP students that go through our program. We actually don't have that many that stay on with us. They go on to other districts, other schools.
So that's a red flag too. That's something for us to kind of look at and see what we can do to bridge that gap. But I would like to think that we could utilize that data that is directive for what the teacher teaching kindergarten would instruct on, because they would see what's measured, what they did learn. I'm sure there's some basic stuff that's being measured for GSRP students, right?
There is, but GSRP has pretty strict rules as far as assessments that they can give.
But
So
if you
a lot of it is more
translate that
teacher observation.
into skill,
a lot of it is more teacher observation. And when they come in at the beginning of the year, they take the iReady. That's like the base, but then the teachers do more individual assessments with them to really find out where those students are at and what they need. So iReady might say that they need work with phonics, but when the teacher gives the student the one-on-one assessment of their letters and their sounds, the teacher will know exactly which letters and sounds the student knows and does not know.
and what additional training do those teachers get? Because I know from experience and watching people teach, everyone is not proficient in sounds to do it, to deliver it.
So the phonics first training, and I don't have the numbers on which teachers have gone to that, but the phonics first training does teach that.
Thank you.
Secretary Davis Smith.
Trustee Dooley, so I teach kindergarten. So what I have noticed is the students that do go to the preschool program, they do know more than the other students that come in. But we have kindergarten isn't just 4 and 5 year olds anymore, because they don't have to bring their kids to school. Kindergarten is not a requirement. So
Not
we had
compulsory.
some 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds in the class that didn't know absolutely nothing. So, but the preschool program, I've saw that those students that were in there did come more prepared. Yeah, it's our other students who are at home. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next slide. ITA reading proficiency. ITA did not use that IXL program. So I'm not saying IXL is what did it for the high school. I'm just pointing out some discrepancies or some differences between the two schools. So I know the high school is planning to use it again next year, and I believe ITA has also expressed interest in that. But their 11th grade. Mm-hmm. So again, I don't know if it's IXL, if it's, I mean, you got to dig into more about teachers and experience and certifications, who had subs, who didn't.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more to dig into with that. Math proficiency trends. Spring of 2024, we went from 30 to 38 and 25, and then 38 and 25 to 40 and 26. So we're seeing steady increases there. And then with the math for 9 through 12 at the high school, again, those 12th graders, I mean, not 85%. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the final slide for ITA.
Okay.
And here with math, they didn't have for the 11th grade. I noticed for ITA for reading, the 11th grade didn't have that much slide back. Like they actually had an increase, but the 11th grade for math, they only had a slight increase.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh wow. Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right, trustees.
I just
questions
want to
for-
say, moving forward, can we have what they improve in the skills? Because this is like empty rhetoric for me as it relates to they increase, but yeah, they increased in what? If you get my point.
Well, not necessarily a skill breakdown, but I can do a domain breakdown. Phonics, phonemic awareness. Yeah. Yep.
Any other questions for Ms. D? All right, thank you. All right, Dr. Leverett, operations maintenance, league contracting.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah. Trustees, at this time is for discussion, action, and renewal. The league contract, contract renewal. Marvin Beasley.
Apologize, got to be mentally tired. Background rationale: the facility department is asking the Board of Education to approve a 3-year facility maintenance service contract with Lead Contract Incorporated, effective July 1st, 2026 through June 3rd, 2029, with the option for 2 additional 1-year renewals. Lead Contracting has provided facility maintenance service to the district since 2016, following a competitive request for proposals process. Throughout this partnership, the company has supported the district efforts to maintain safe, functional, efficient learning environments for students, staff, and community. Approval of this agreement will allow the district to continue receiving a comprehensive preventive maintenance service for the district facilities while maintaining operational continuity and minimizing disruptions into daily operations. Contract establishes performance expectations, staffing requirements, accountability measures, and service standards, including dedicated on-site, off-site management, skilled maintenance technicians, preventive maintenance services, cost repair, district access, and reduce the need for costly repairs, emergency response, after hours, when needed, regular performance inspections, communication protocols, and accountability measures. It is a recommendation of administration that the Board of Education approve the contract renewal for lead contracting from July 1st, 2026 to June 3rd, 2029. The contract is for not to exceed amount of $2,158,814 for 2026-27 school year.
Thank you, Mr. Beasley. Trustees, Trustee Dooley.
Mr. Beasley, how many other contracts or other bids do you have?
I'm glad you asked, and I can explain that. I'm sorry.
I just don't want to know the number.
No, we
Is
didn't.
it 2, 3, 4, 5?
Didn't do it.
You didn't do it. You did one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Comment. Lee has been with us for some years.
Yes,
and
they
they've been
have.
very good to us.
Yes, they
and,
have.
I commend them on the work that they did with Wisner Stadium.
Correct.
How they kept that, and possibly new administration building over at Wisner School, what they've done without us even asking.
Correct.
And they've been excellent partners. And as Marv stated, I've seen them go over and beyond the call of duty after hours as well.
Every day.
Every day.
Yes.
Mr. Lee, yeah. No, I'm just saying, Lee has been very good to this district over years. Since
If I could speak out on mine, I mean, I understand what you guys are at. I mean, one of the things we did was looked at the fact these teachers were struggling getting contracts. And so I brought this in a little bit later to try to get these teachers contracts and stuff done first. You know, our students, it's very important to get that done. Again, like I said, we work very hard in our department, and I understand what people are saying, what you're looking at like that again, but just a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week thing. Everything in Pontiac schools, whether you guys know it or not, is an emergency every single day. No matter what we do or how we try to do it, we put processes in place, things in place. I work a minimum 12, 13 hours a day myself, every single day. That includes weekends. And it's also with my staff. So lead them guys is unbelievable of what they do in the software or the service orders. When things happen, they respond in minutes. Last minute requests all the time. There's never everything, some things up front all the time. It's always mostly last minute requests to get things done. Them guys have always came and stepped to the plate and continue to make it happen. Even you pay attention, even if something small as a homecoming. When I ask these guys to drive trailers for our kids, they step up and do it. You know, I've been through several contractors. I know one of the board members have been with me a very long time. Understand what I've seen several contractors through this district, several of them. And these guys have stepped up to the plate beyond what you can recognize. Again, it's your choice of what you want to do, and I understand that. But I'm coming to you and telling you that the services these companies provide for us is unreal, and it's every single day. And I appreciate them guys what they do for us.
Any other questions?
And lastly, I remember when we had some concerns with one of the supervisors or managers of that, and that concern was actually brought from facilities to Lee, and they changed the manager and
Yes,
brought
they
someone
did.
else
Immediately.
different because they wanted to maintain the relationship with the district. And that's been the history of Lee.
Yeah. Trustee Dooley.
This is no indictment against anyone.
I understand.
I just ask questions.
Yes, ma'am. No, I want to
Did
explain
we
it to you.
get other
No, ma'am.
quotes?
No, ma'am.
And in regards to you working 12, 13, 15 hours, appreciate it, but you get paid real good.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're not working for
No,
free.
just it. No,
So I just want that to be clear to
Yes,
people
ma'am.
that might think,
Yeah.
oh, Marvin, he's so dedicated, he's
Yeah.
gonna work for free. That would not be true.
Okay.
So again, my question was basically, did we vet other companies? And I commend Lee for going above and beyond and stepping in. All that's great. But we should have had other bids. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Any other comments? Trustee Bowman.
Just to agree with what Dooley said, or Trustee Dooley, I'm sorry, what she mentioned, it is true. You know, the district, from what I've seen, has used Lee for a very long time, and it'd be nice to have other options. But what I can say is somebody with a maintenance background, I understand that you all do something very important that goes unnoticed, and it's best to build a relationship with a contractor, and I appreciate and respect that moving forward. It's like having a swimming pool with a terrible pool guy, you know, so you want those relationships to be ironclad and locked in, but in future, just as your position in operations, just keep in mind, you know, as a board, it's our fiscal responsibility to look out for the district.
I
So
understand.
we just want to make sure, you know, all transparency is fair. You know, if Lee is doing an exceptional job, let Lee continue to earn that position versus us just handing them the bone. But at the end of the day, you know, I respect what they've done and what I've seen in the district. And I just feel moving forward in the future, you know, if they continue to excel, you know, keep them on board, but never count out the option of what potentially we can have that could be better or save us some money in the district.
I understand.
Any other questions, comments, trustees? Okay, moving down to action item. Can I get a motion for the approval of Lee contracting contract renewal?
I'm sorry. Can I, this was a contract for 3 years?
Yes, that's what I'm asking for, but
Got to ask for motion. Can we, that question is after the motion.
Yeah. Motion, trustee Miller, were you
I said so moved.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved by trustee Miller, supported by trustee Gross for the approval of the lead contract and contract renewal. Any questions, comments?
It concerns me that we would do a 3-year contract and then vet anyone else. I could see if we were doing for the sake of time because we're running out of deadline time and we have to meet all these deadlines because of our inability to be on the schedule or pacing guide to stay current. But to do 3 years and no other comparative. And again, we appreciate what Lee has done and what Lee states they will do. But moving forward, I don't think it's appropriate to agree for a 3-year contract, and we had nothing else to compare.
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
trustee Bowman.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley,
I abstain.
trustee Gross,
Yes.
President Hannah.
Yes.
That passes 5-1.
All right. Next on the agenda, our last item, Dr. Leverett.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah. Trustees, this is for discussion and action. Renewal of the Professional Ground Services PGS contract extension. Marv.
background rationale, the district contract extension with Professional Ground Services is set to expire June 30, 2026. The administration is recommending that the Board of Education approve the 3-year extension of the grounds contract. We believe in the district's best interest to extend grounds current to PGS. We also, because of the contract, they also rent out the property from us and pay us a fee every month also on top of that. The quality of work response for the time the district needs has been a great value on the contract. Our contract grounds crew is all responsible for maintaining and painting athletic fields to ensure fields are ready for painted. Also cleans the vacant district-owned building properties dumped on site. They also remove any large debris or urgent need of the district. Since the district is going through many changes at this time, this feels at this time is the need to keep this service for the district. It's a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education approve the contract with Professional Ground Services for the ground services at the amount of not to exceed $409,361 from July 1st, 2026 to June 30, 2029.
All right, thank you. Questions, comments, trustees?
Can you restate, you said the cost?
So the cost, and it may be a little glimpse, so to make understand that, so that's per year, $400,909. That's per year.
Not to exceed.
Yeah, not to exceed $409,000 per year. No, ma'am. Again, just to have the relationship and service with them guys, been doing a wonderful job in my opinion. It's a service, so I do know about being a service. If they're doing a good job for you, you don't have to bid it.
Okay. All right, trustees, any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Marv, in these contracts, though, it does state that if we're not satisfied with the services
right.
at any point in time,
Yes.
we can remove the contract.
Yes, you can.
Just
then
like transportation, anything,
Yep.
services.
Yeah, you can
So-
also remove a lot of services from
Absolutely.
Also. Yes.
So that's the main, the good thing about it, that if we're not satisfied at some point in time,
Yes.
or we have issues, we have right to terminate.
Yes, you do.
Without question.
Yes.
Okay. All right, can I get a motion for the approval of the Professional Ground Services contract extension?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by trustee Gross, supported by trustee Miller for the approval of the Professional Ground Services contract extension. Any questions, comments? Roll call.
Trustee Bowman,
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley,
No.
trustee Gross,
Yes.
President Hannah,
Yes.
and trustee Miller.
Yes.
That passes 5-1.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on down the
Thank you, guys.
agenda. Thank you. Next would have been communications, petitions, and delegations, but nobody's here. But I do want to acknowledge that Sequoia Howard submitted, Laura Marie submitted, Marcus Kelly, Kermit Williams, and Tamika Ramsey. Some of those probably could have been during public comment as it related to the budget. So some of them did express that on their sheet, that there were some comments or concerns regarding the budget. So I just wanted to acknowledge that they did turn theirs in. Trustees, announcements, comments. We'll start with Trustee Bowman.
Well, good evening. It's been a long one. Very first one
It is
on
the
the
first one,
books.
isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm just excited to be a part of, for the most part, building confidence and restoring confidence back in the school district with this community and working with this great board to do such. I know that in the past, just from a community or resident perspective, our board has gotten a black eye for a lot of things. And I want to be part of enhancing that and be part of moving the needle forward. So just being here as an appointee is work for me. It means more because this city and this school district has a marriage that people don't know about. You know, without a thriving school board or school institution, you don't have a thriving city. So it pushes so many envelopes. So I just want to be a part of change. And to all of my other board members, I look forward to everything that we can accomplish together for the time that I'm here, until the time God allow me not to be here. So I thank you all, and it's late, so I won't hold you, and have a good night.
All right. Thank you very much. Trustee Miller.
Oh, thank you. Have a good night. I have nothing.
All right. Trustee Dooley.
Well, I want to start with saying goodbye to you, Dr. Hannah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service that you have provided to this board, and I certainly wish you well in all your new endeavors.
Thank you.
And truly, may God surround you and let His countenance fall upon you. Want to talk about the election? We will be having a seat. The same process will be utilized. Please make your application, send it to attention to our secretary, Trustee Shaquana Davis, for that. As always, I will still, as we continue to change and this board is changing, I will still advocate for a forensic audit so we'll know exactly where we are, or I will know, Trustee Dooley, and my 7,617 people that put me in the seat. Inquiring minds want to know. Also, I am so pleased that the students that went to Washington, D.C. had a great experience. I'm happy that she has the foresight, Ms. Rush, Principal Rush, to start fundraising early. The earlier, that probably will be inclusive of more students having the opportunity. I want to reiterate that I would like for this board to at least support with a minimum donation of $5,000 from our budget to help and aid in that. It's been great. I want to say welcome to Trustee Bowman to the board. And for that, the rest of it, everyone have a great night.
All right. Thank you. All right, Trustee Gross.
I yield the first 20 seconds to Trustee Miller.
Though I did say this because I felt like I may have forgotten. President Hannah, thank you for your work and your diligence and everything that you've done for this board. As Trustee Dooley said, I truly wish you the best in all of your endeavors. I know I can imagine that it wasn't an easy decision because your heart and soul is truly with this board and with this district. But I bid you farewell, and I wish you the best.
Thank you. All right.
I use my wife's favorite word, ditto. Thank you for your time served. And I pray that all goes well in your plans from this point forward. And thank you for your service. Good and bad, but you still served. So bless you.
Thank you.
And I know your son's going to love it. He get to see his mom now more. So that's a good thing. As Trustee Dooley stated, I don't know if you're going to discuss that, the next process.
Oh, yeah, I'll mention it.
Yeah, because it starts tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep.
The process starts tomorrow.
Yep.
And letters of interest have to go in to Secretary David Smith starting tomorrow.
Yes.
And remember, we discussed the deadline from tomorrow through the 30th. and possibly meeting on the 2nd of July for interviews. That was our discussion. So I wanted to make sure we were all on point. July 2nd, right? So we did a lot of things tonight. Again, it was important. But lastly, I want to talk about how important it is for our budget. Let's be prepared. I think we have to have questions because we want to do this thing and get it done. We want to stay within the law of the state of Michigan to get this budget done, because when they didn't do their budget in there and they were on hold, we were almost in trouble when they didn't get theirs completed. But I think we're on the right path with that, and I appreciate all the questions. And because mine is, again, I'm not here to dictate or tell people what to do. I just like us to all be on the same page. And if one of us don't know, it means we need to do something. And I think that's important. And so let's get that done. And we need to look at setting those dates and times. So when we're going to have the budget review, I think Trustee Dooley said within 2 days, because she can only meet Tuesday or Wednesday, and it takes 18 hours to get it posted. So if we can pick out a time, if we're available on Wednesday, I'm retired, so I'm available. But if we can pick a time to, at least by Wednesday, and then have some questions, if not prior to that day, so we can be ready to vote on this thing at another special meeting on by the 30th, then we have to get this done. So I think that's extremely important. So with that, I say thank you and good night, and let's get out of here.
Right. Okay. All right, Secretary David Smith.
Good evening. I wanted to thank President Hannah for stepping up and moving into the president's seat when we needed to the most. Lead with integrity and ensuring all governance decisions are both ethical and focused on student success. I appreciate you, and I pray your next journey brings you nothing but happiness and prosperity. Love you.
Oh, I love you too. That's it. All right. All right. Thank you. It is bittersweet, but I am excited about this next chapter in my life. It has definitely been a pleasure serving with all of you. Marvin Sapp got a song that says, "Grateful for it all." I'm grateful for it all. The good, the bad, the ugly, big and small. I am grateful to have had this opportunity, not just to serve the Pontiac School District as a trustee, but also to serve in the capacity of president for this school board. I thank all of you for everything that you've done. It's not an easy job. Leadership is and can be very lonesome. And when you're in these roles, it's not about friendships. It's about you making the right decisions to do what's in the best interest for, in this case, the students. And so I hope and pray that as you all continue to work together to move this district forward, that you remember it's not about positions or titles. It's all about you doing what's in the best interest for these students. And I've done that. And so I am comfortable with walking away from this chapter of my life because I have showed up with integrity. I've showed up with professionalism. I've showed up with the best interests of these students in mind. And it was never about a position or a title for me. So with that, I just really say thank you guys. Continue to move this district forward and continue to work together collaboratively with the team of 8, including the superintendent. But I really do believe in our students and family in this school district, and they need us here to advocate and be their voice. So I really do hope you guys continue to do that. So I'm not even going to share everything that I have written because it's late. It's been a long day. But again, I just thank you all for allowing me to serve in this capacity. Can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting, please?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by Trustee Dooley and supported by Trustee Miller to adjourn the meeting. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Yes.
Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
That passes 6-0.
All right. The time is now 9:55 p.m. Thank you for tuning in and have a good night.